placed at schools.
It hurts. It hurts. Deeply hurts. It saddens you as a parent to see your child cry, wanting to go to school because they know education. There's nothing else they know. You cannot be playing around the whole day today when people are learning and he's sitting at home doing nothing. It's really sad.
Mureki says this is not how he imagined the first day of school for his grade 1 son would be. He insists the Gauteng Education Department system does not work as he started applying in September, then tried again in December and has still been unsuccessful. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News in Morningside.
Former Acting Police Commissioner Komoso Phahlane will be the first witness to face Parliament's ad hoc committee in the new year when he gives evidence today. Phahlane can expect to be grilled by the ad hoc committee investigating police corruption over decisions taken during his tenure as the country's top cop between 2015 and 2017 before he was suspended. The ad hoc committee resumes its hearings after a lengthy recess following an explosive testimony of businessman and attempted murder accused Vusmuzi Matala last year. Babalondenza reports.
Komoso Phahlane, the former acting national commissioner, served from October 2015 until his suspension in June 2017. While his role in the highest levels of the police ended 9 years ago, he still remains a central figure in high-profile investigations that involve police corruption as well as political interference. His testimony will center around claims that there was an agenda to remove him and interference in investigations involving police watchdog IPED. Phahlane is no stranger to controversy and was dismissed from the police in August 2020 due to a 2014 contract for the purchase of panoramic cameras during his tenure as the police's head of forensics. Last year, Phahlane returned to the Labour Appeal Court in a bid to declare his dismissal from the police unfair. Phahlane's evidence will be followed by the testimony of Crime Intelligence Head Dumsani Khumalo tomorrow. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
Bail judgment will be handed down in the murder case of media personality Warwick Stock, widely known as DJ Warris, this morning. Victor Majola, who was arrested in connection with the shooting, appeared in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court yesterday, where he applied for bail. The matter has been rolled over to this morning following a lengthy sitting. The investigating officer in the matter was called to testify to oppose Majola's bail yesterday. Oren Singh was in court.
Victor Majola believes he was wrongfully arrested and charged with the murder of Warwick Stock. Reading out his affidavit in respect of bail, Majola's attorney Dumisani Mabunda said his client was in Soweto on the day of the murder, fixing his car.
My family informs me that the general view is that the state arrested a wrong person. And it is indeed so correct. The state have arrested the wrong person in me.
But investigating officer Abe Montwedi presented a different version, claiming CCTV footage shows Majola colluding with the man who shot Stock about 45 minutes before the shooting occurred in Joburg CBD.
The applicant, Lordship, is the one that orchestrated everything, and he made sure that the deceased is going to be shot on that day.
Magistrate Annalise Klapi will hand down judgment this morning. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
And at least 22 people have died after a crane at an under-construction high-speed rail line in Thailand collapsed. Local authorities say the crane fell on top of a passenger train this morning. The train then derailed, injuring more than 30 people. Gold is trading at $4,578.81 an ounce. The rand is at 16.36 to the dollar, 21.99 to the pound, 19.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.29 a barrel.
In the traffic, if you're in Polshof, expect delays on Witkopen Road between Winnie Mandela Drive and Rivonia Road, and look out for those faulty traffic lights in Rand Park Ridge at Beyers Nodia and the N1 North.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. While some parents and pupils celebrate the milestone of their first day of school, frustrated parents are desperate to find placement for their children, and they've lined up at long queues outside district offices.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang. Bonjour. Ça va? Sanbonani. Goeiemorgen. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. Great to be in your company once again this morning. Thanks for joining the 702 family. I hope your day will be great vandaag. I think it will definitely be great for those who are tired of their bundles of joy. Because it's back to school today, and my goodness, aren't you happy? I mean, your kids don't have to know this, but aren't you happy that they are back to school? You know, I spent a few days with my nephews. One is 3 months old, another is 3 years old, and I'm telling you, I wasn't even the primary caregiver because their parents were there, their grandparents were there, my sister was there, but I got so exhausted in just a day because these little ones will terrorize you. They demand so much of your attention. They demand so much of your care. So parents, I know how it feels just a little bit, but I want you to be honest with me this morning. How do you feel now that they're back to school? Are you relieved? Because it's okay to be relieved, right? This is a safe space. Being relieved doesn't mean you don't love your kids. Or maybe you're sad. Maybe it was difficult for you to see them to school this morning. How do you feel as a parent about your children going back to school? Are you excited for your kids who started grade 1 or who started perhaps in high school today? Teachers, how are you feeling as well? Did you miss your learners? Bongani was telling me, Bongani Bingwa, my colleague this morning, was telling me that what he's excited about is that his daughter's program is going to wind down because all he's been doing during the school break was do drop-offs, fetch the kids, because they get so busy and you get exhausted with just the drop-offs and the pickups. Are you happy that they're back to school? Give me a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. We can talk about them while they're still in school, eh? What do you think of the military drills that we have planned with Iran, Russia, and China this week? So there are reports suggesting that our government has asked Iran to withdraw from the drills because America is upset. The Iranian Navy deployed 3 vessels to False Bay last week, but reports suggest that they have since been withdrawn from the exercise. Apparently, the president is the one who ordered that they be withdrawn from the BRICS naval exercises and be an observer like other countries. And look, military drills are standard. We've spoken about this before when America was upset that we did drills with China and Russia. This is how many years ago? 3 years ago, probably. I remember this because I even interviewed the U.S. ambassador at the time, Ambassador Bridgetti, about this. But this is standard practice. We do military drills with many countries that we have bilateral relations with. But the timing of this military exercise is a bit off. And I wonder what you think about that. Should we even care about timing? I mean, the US is upset that we're hosting these military drills with its adversaries. But should the US enemies be our enemies? Because I don't particularly agree with that perception. Because the US tells us not to cozy up to Russia. But guess what they do? President Trump rolls up the red carpet for President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. So America must not tell us who to be friends with because we don't do the same to them. And they've got double standards because they'll tell you not to cozy up with someone, but they roll up the red carpet for them. Having said that, I do think that we must be strategic and be able to balance interests. And I think this time around, with the military exercises with countries that include Iran, may have been a miscalculation given the timing. What do I mean by timing? You may have picked up that the House of Representatives in the US has approved a 3-year extension of AGOA. They did that this week with a 2/3 majority. And yes, it's obviously too early to celebrate because the bill still needs to go through the Senate, which is where there's likely to be more scrutiny on South Africa. But this step of the House of Representatives is something to acknowledge. Both Republicans and Democrats agreed in the House of Representatives that AGOA must be extended. But there are political issues here that have already been put on the table by some Republicans in the Senate. I mean, I saw the chair of, the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Republican Jim Risch. He was questioning the military drills that we're engaging in with Russia, China, and Iran. And his argument is that South Africa can't claim non-alignment and still host drills with America's enemies, chief adversaries. So these military drills will make the negotiations worse for South Africa, even the negotiations that we've been holding around the tariffs. And that may influence what we're doing in these drills, may influence how the Senate votes. Because make no mistake, Democrats are also concerned about how close we are with countries like China, Russia, and more so Iran. So this is not only a concern coming from the Republican side. So my question then to you is, do you think the president was right to call, if indeed he did, to ask for Iran to withdraw from the military drills? Do you think that was the right call? Do you understand the timing may be off? Or do you think that South Africa must hold firm and do whatever it wants to do, even though there may be some consequences down the line? 011-883-0702. Give me a call on that line or send a WhatsApp. I'm interested in your views on 072-702-1702. At 10 o'clock, we're going to speak to the Education MEC in Gauteng, Matume Chulane. We've been receiving lots of calls from you about the issue of placements. As you know, today marks the first day of the 2026 academic year. And as usual, because we're here every single year, as usual, there are some Gauteng pupils who will have to be temporarily placed in schools because the education department is battling capacity issues. Khomotso Modise, our EWN reporter, was reporting that there's around 30,000 grade 1 and grade 8 pupils that remain without placements in high-pressure areas. And almost annually, the Gauteng Education Department struggles with this. They struggle to place pupils due to high demand in certain areas. So if you're a parent who has faced some issues with your child's placement, please just get ready to call us at 10 o'clock because I want to facilitate a conversation between you and the MEC. What are the issues you're facing? And I want the MEC to be able to assure you about what the solutions are. At 10:30, we're going to be in conversation with Nedbank to discuss the issue of infrastructure, because we do need to talk about infrastructure development and investments and partnerships and how critical all of that is for the growth of our economy. At 11 o'clock, we'll do our Listener's Choice feature, and today we're discussing savings plans for 2026. One of our listeners has asked that we look at different ways to save as we begin the year. So we'll be diving into practical ways to save some money and take control of our finances. And then at 11:30, we do the sharing space. There's a really, really interesting story that a listener has shared with us today. I can't wait for you to hear it and hear what your thoughts are. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement. Mine are going back tomorrow, and I cannot wait. I was telling them actually last night that, guys, just to be in a house where it's quiet and I don't have to hear mama, mama, mama. That is all I need for this week before I go back to work. So yeah, I'm really excited, but I think I'm just worried about them because they're starting in new schools. So yeah, I just am hoping that they settle in well. But other than that, I'm really happy.
Yeah, and isn't it crazy how, yes, you get happy that they're gone to school, but you miss them incredibly. And I think that's how I feel as well with my nephews, is I'll get tired of them, but as soon as I'm away from them, a few hours later or a day later, I miss them so much. Which is why I don't know how you parents do it. I really don't. You guys are really brave. To have little ones like that in your house every single day? Yeah, you are really brave, I tell you.
Morning, Clement. Good to talk to you in 2026. Clement, for me, I believe let wisdom prevail. Being told what to do and what not to do as a government by another government, it's not nice. It's not on, actually. But you choose your battle. I mean, what's the point of being arrogant about certain things and you get sanctioned and you get all those measures, meted against you, and you suffer the consequences. In the most cases, I mean, in the most important thing, it's for economy and the people to thrive and people to be able to put the bread on the table. So yeah, certain things you're gonna have to be wise about them and just let them slide. It's not nice, yes. It bruises your ego as a government, but you choose smart. You just have to be smart, and it's a reality. It's a reality. In an ideal world, it shouldn't be like that, but in reality, this is it.
You bruise your sovereignty ego, if we can call it that. Look, I've always been clear. I do think that powerful countries have a tendency to abuse their power and take advantage of your more smaller developing countries, if you will. And I do think we have to be very careful of that. I agree. That's why I'm saying timing right now is off, because the House of Representatives was voting on AGOA. The Senate is about to vote in AGOA. And it's in the Senate where Republicans are quite hectic and critical of South Africa. So the timing is off from that perspective. But America has raised issues with us hosting military drills with China and Russia already 3 years ago. And we do this every year, by the way, with countries we've got bilateral relations with. They've complained before, even when Iran was not part of it. I remember us having this conversation on the open line. But America cannot tell us who to do drills with. They cannot tell us who we must cozy up with, because my issue is they are not consistent. So they'll tell you, how dare you host the Chinese president or the Russian president, and then they do it. And my worry is the minute you are so receptive to the instructions of America, the next time they're going to tell you that we don't like Cyril Ramaphosa, he must go. What do you then do? Or if we go to elections and we elect Julius Malema as the next president, the EFF, we elect the EFF or the MK party and whatever, and the next president becomes Julius Malema and America says we will not accept that. What do you do then? Look at what they've done in Venezuela. You think Venezuela is ever going to experience democracy for as long as the Trump administration is in office? That's never going to happen. Even if they go to elections tomorrow, they must still select somebody to be president that America approves of. We need to be very careful of that. Otherwise, we're skating on thin ice. That doesn't mean that we must not be cautious and not be strategic. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm saying let's balance things out. We must be strategic and balance things, and I don't think Iran necessarily must be part of these drills now, given the timing and also given what's happening in Iran. Those protests and the people that are being killed. But I don't think that America must be the one that makes that call for us. We, as a sovereign state, must be able to say, okay, this is a decision that we're taking because we think it's strategic to go this route.
Clement, this is Tulare from Potchefstroom. I just don't understand the logic in the first place to have those military drills. It frustrates me even more to then find out that the ANC chickened out basically and instructed Iran not to participate. Why were they here in the first place? Why? Did they not anticipate that there might be blowback if they invited Iran? Were they sleeping on the job? Did they forget about the military drill and that Iran was invited? I mean, I just don't understand the logic. Please, can someone tell me? Thank you.
But the thing is, we have bilateral relations with Iran. The same way that we have bilateral relations with Russia, with America, with the UK. So what are you suggesting then? Because either we've got relations with Iran or we don't. And if we do, and there are bilateral relations, then we're going to have to do what we do with other countries we have relations with, if we wish so. Or if we don't want to relate with Iran, then let's stop our bilateral relations. Then we shouldn't have relations then with that country. But you can't have your cake and eat it. Decide. It's either they are your friend, or they are a country that you have relations with, or they are not. But you can't say, oh, they're a country we have relations with, but we're not going to have meetings with them. We're not going to meet their leaders. And. I remember the time when the South African chief of the SNDF, remember, when he went to Iran, met with the military minister there in Iran, and started talking about how, they're against imperialism, and they mentioned even Israel there. Do you remember that? We spoke about it. Our chief of the SNDF met with Iran's army commander, and they both agreed that they both shared a common goal of fighting the global arrogance and aggressive colonial approach. They slammed Washington and Tel Aviv, and then Kimang, the minister of defense, Enji Motshekga, then comes and says, Minister Enji Motshekga says, that was wrong. The SNDF chief shouldn't have done that. She released a statement. And then comes back, defends the chief of the SANDF. And this is after the presidency came out and said, that wasn't advisable, what happened there. Oh, and now there are reports. I read on News 24. I read an article suggesting that the president issued an instruction to Enji Motshekga to say, tell Iran to withdraw. And apparently Enji Motshekga may have somehow refused to take that instruction from the president. That's the story I read on News 24. I'm not too convinced of that because, who's the ultimate chief of the army? Who's the commander-in-chief of the SNDF? That's President Cyril Ramaphosa. So why can't the instruction come directly from him? Or does it need to go through NG? I don't know. But that's what was being reported. Basie, you're calling us from Johannesburg. What are your thoughts?
What's up, Clem Zozo?
Hey, Tada. Kimnat, how are you?
Compliments of the new season, Clem Zozo.
Sure, brother. Go ahead.
And thank you for your beautiful show. I'm thinking right now the world is going through this drastic change, this evolutionary change. America wants to have its footprint on Greenland, on the North Americans, and also towards the South Americans. You heard Trump. He was like, listen, the western corner of the world belongs to us, and nobody's going to do anything about it. And there's this kind of militant, authoritarian attitude towards the world. The world leaders are pussies. And I'm sorry, none of them are doing anything about it.
Wait, Trump, did you say bullies or the other way? What word?
They are pussies.
Hey, basically we can't say that. We can't say that word on the radio.
Well, you've got those technology that goes to whatever.
Well, we can't do that because this is not pre-recorded. Let me apologize on your behalf to the listeners who may be offended by that.
I apologize to the whole world that's listening and the listeners.
Go ahead.
But this is how I am. I tell it like it is. But Donald Trump is going to take over the world, my brother, if we are not careful. We kind of there's a repetition of what happened in Germany. Look what's going on in America with the ICE. They are killing themselves from inside, and then this thing is going to go to Greenland. They are going to take over Greenland. It's a fact. And the reason why is because their military is so huge, and they've got new technology that they want to take. What's the point of creating weapons and they're just sitting in the garage? What's the point of creating
And they don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons, and they tell them no.
Because of the oil. That's because of the oil. They don't want Iran oil to come that side so that they can use the Venezuelan oil to counter the post-war that they're doing with Iran.
Isn't this what's happening with any other powerful country, though, basically? Because America, Trump wants America to be in control of that entire Western Hemisphere. China, what China is doing in Taiwan, You know what Russia is doing in Ukraine. So it's almost like you've got all of these powerful countries who are just trying to protect their territory and also choose whether they want to expand.
Changing the face of the world. Yeah. What do you think? Don't you think that Xi Jinping and Trump and what's his name? Putin are sitting there going, hey, listen, bro, now I'm gonna love my.
Oh, we've just lost him there. Let's see if we can get him back. I don't know what happened there, but the line got cut. Vusi, in the meantime, let's hear what you've got to say. You're calling from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Hi, Clement.
Sure.
Yeah, look, my opinion is that the U.S. is being very silly. They are being very hypocritical, and effectively, by bowing to their demands, we are creating a monster that you yourself were describing. What stops them from effecting regime change? And I actually want to I know there's members of our society that are yearning for a similar intervention because of their deep hatred of the current government or party. But if America can actually go against its own friends, the Danish, in taking Greenland, what stops them from So they cannot be taken seriously, really. And then also this AGOA, we must maybe sometimes it's painful, but sometimes to cut the umbilical cord of such things, that dependency, will assist us in the long run to create other relations.
Yeah,
I know it's going to be painful. I'm from the Eastern Cape, in East London. Also, I heard Daimler Chrysler may cut jobs and various other places that export a lot to the US because of this AGOA crisis. However, I feel that it cannot be at the cost of our sovereignty and how we decide and how we dictate things.
Yeah, we're building a monster, which I agree. And I like what you say about maybe the dependency will help us also consider other options. I don't see why we have not taken advantage of the market in Africa, Vusi. Billions. I mean, we've got so many people on this continent, and yet we've not even taken advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. We're busy obsessing about markets in Asia, in America, which, yes, I know, they've got more buying power compared, you could argue, to the people on our continent. But there are people here on the continent. Let's also take advantage of how many people we have here and use that market.
Absolutely, Clement. And that's why, for me, I just feel that this is going to be temporary pain. Even if it goes through Senate, it's still going to go to Trump too.
It's going to end up on his desk.
So there's really no point. We must consider it lost, this AGOA. It went through this
House of Representatives,
Yes, now it's going to go through Senate. I'm sure it will go through, but Trump is going to say no because he already is building lies about us and peddling them. So fine,
Okay, Vusi in Johannesburg, thank you so much for your call. Let me quickly clarify this. The call we got earlier, because I see some people are saying, Clement, why can't we say bully? Where's media independence? That listener didn't say bully. He said the P word, which I can't repeat. He said the P word, which I can't repeat. And I don't know. And some of you may argue that, that is slang. But I do think that is quite a derogatory term, and I don't want it to be part of our lexicon when we are having conversations. I think you can still call America a bully or whatever you want to call them, but the P word so early in the morning on the radio, no. It's 9:31. Let's get the latest Now Witness News headlines. When we come back, I'm coming back to your calls, John. I'll start with you. I've got your WhatsApps as well coming through on 072 7021 702. Are you happy that the little ones are back at school? And do you think the president made the right call by calling for Iran to withdraw from the military drills, given the timing and how upset America is? Swiso, good morning.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. While some parents and pupils celebrate the milestone of their first day of school, others are frustrated and they are desperate to find placement for their children, and they've lined up at long queues outside district offices. About 3,000 grade 1 and 8 pupils have not been placed at a school in Gauteng. This is the province's struggles, or as it struggles with an overburdened system with more children than places available. Former Acting Police Commissioner Patlane will be the first witness to face Parliament's ad hoc committee in the new year when he gives evidence today. Patlane can expect to be grilled by the ad hoc committee that's been investigating police corruption over decisions taken during his tenure as the country's top cop between 2015 and 2017 before he was suspended. And the United Nations says 2025 was the deadliest year for civilians in Ukraine since 2022. The UN's Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine says the conflict-related violence killed at least 2,514 civilians last year. This is compared with 2,088 in 2024 and 1,974 in 2023. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
So in the traffic has eased up across most areas, and I have to say, for the first day of back to school, I think we did pretty well. So in the meantime, what you can look out for though are those faulty traffic lights in Rand Park Ridge at Beyers Nodia and the N1 North, in Sandton at Grayston Drive and the M1, and in the capital city there are also faulty traffic lights on Solomon Mahlangu and Gauteng. If you do come across any other traffic in your area, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Any kind of physical activity does not have to involve the gym. You could literally just put on a pair of running shoes, go for a run.
Exactly. That's what I love about park runs, which is one of my New Year's resolutions. I've been told that, that's where you can also meet a boyfriend. So I'm trying this year.
This is a very revealing conversation, Kopana.
So if you want to do any public service announcement, maybe it should be that. Let's get me married.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours, and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Dis-Chem Better Rewards program is here, and every time you shop and save, you're also giving back. Each time you swipe, not only are you rewarded, but a percentage of your purchase is donated to the Dis-Chem Foundation to support communities in need. So why wait? Sign up to become a Better Rewards member today and support with every swipe. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct to give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Your voice. Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
24 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's go back to your calls and your WhatsApps. I've been asking you about kids going back to school this morning. Are you happy? Nonsigelelo says, Clement, I am so happy that they're back to school. They're hoovers and they clean the fridge In the morning, the fridge is full. By afternoon, it's empty. They sit on phones all day until 3 a.m. in the morning. And you can't really regulate that and say, oh, go study because they're on a break, hey? And I suppose that's what makes it a bit tricky. Another one on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, I dropped my 2.5-year-old twins at school this morning. Metaphorically, it feels like I just had a massage. Really, it feels like I just had a massage. Like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Like I've just won the lotto. The festive season was hard to entertain them every day and keep them busy all day long every day. I love my kids, but I love my sanity too. I have so much respect for my parents and all other parents before me. Hats off to them. That is so funny.
Madimeja, Happy New Year. New school calendar as well. No, December the kids were away on holidays by the grandparents and homelands, if we call it that way. So we didn't really get time to spend with them around Gauteng. So it's a normal day. It's a normal thing. Just happy that they are back. We'll see them every day now compared to the festive period. Thank you.
Today is my daughter's first day of school, and it is quite daunting to think that she is through school and that our schedule is going to change up so much after this year. I think while we're in it, we're busy and we get quite annoyed at times because we run around like headless chickens most of the time. But to have our kids in our houses is just such a privilege.
Yeah, hey. And then Zola on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, I'm super happy that my kids are back at school today. I've been waiting for this day since I went back to work 2 weeks or so ago. I need a break and a breather. In fact, I'm planning to take a day or two off while they're back at school to do me without them. Oh man, I get it. I really do get it. 20 minutes before 10.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
John, you calling from Four Ways. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement.
Hey, Tada.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy.
Mamiteja, look, I think Tina, we like talking about sovereignty as a country. But the fact is that we can't defend it. So it's meaningless. Our soldiers just don't have arms. You know, we have over the years completely and progressively disempowered them. They've got no arms. Why? But they were there. We took them there in the DRC. They were humiliated by M23. And then they went crawling to ask for transport back home via Rwanda, which is actually supporting, the M23. So I think we need to learn, and unfortunately we don't learn. We never learn. That's why, for example, without digressing, with regards to schooling, for the beginners, we have got the same problem year after year. I can tell you in 10 years' time, Clement, we'll still be having the same problem. Not enough classrooms. Why? Because we don't plan. We need to learn that, countries, don't work on goodwill. The UN is powerless. I mean, they can't protect the people in Gaza. What makes you think that if Trump decides to deal with us, Russia held up with the war in Ukraine, China, just the distance alone, we think that those people will come and protect? They won't. And the AGOA is not the last thing, Clement. Trump can introduce sanctions. You know what that will mean? Sanctions against us. It means KFC, we like chicken. Coca-Cola. You know, what did the Ford, Apple watches, Apple phones will no longer just be there. We like driving this Rangers, especially African guys.
Yeah, but I think it's naive to think that Trump would think of sanctions without any regard to the impact on those American companies. In fact, every time he has to take a decision, he has to make a consideration about what the impact is going to be also on those companies. So this is not just a world of America where they can decide, pull out that company, pull out that. There's an impact on them too. And as much as Trump may not want to at least acknowledge it, this is a globalized world. You are not going to survive on your own. We survive because we have got relations with each other. There are things that America doesn't have, that we have on this continent, that Asia has, that the Middle East has. And that's how we survive. We give each other what we don't have.
Clem, without dragging it on, you know what? Tina, we make very strategic mistake. Now, I mean, like, if now the president say he has cancelled the drill with Iran, the question is, in the beginning, was there no communication between the military and the presidency and foreign relations?
There was. But these things get planned like a year in advance.
Fine, Clement. We've been having this tension with America for a long time. And I can just tell you, Clement, in terms of economic scale, we are very small. We may think, and then other African countries, I think we must narrow to ourselves, because when we say Africa, we are wrong. Because the American base is in Botswana, for example, and Kenya. So we always talk about Africa as though there's some agreement among African states. There's no agreement, my friend.
That's true.
We must begin to think of ourselves maybe as South Africa and maybe SADC.
Okay.
Once we always think of ourselves as Africa, we're going to be very surprised. We're going to have
So what's the solution then, John? When you say we talk a lot about sovereignty, should we just do whatever appeases America?
Business. Let's mind our business for start. First, charity begins at home.
So we mustn't have allies?
Provide water to our people. Yeah.
Wait, we mustn't have allies?
We must have allies. It's fine.
Yeah, but these are our allies. So we can't have military drills with our allies.
Which one is your
BRICS,
ally?
I mean, Russia, China.
It's fine. India. Have you ever India poking the north of America? India, which is able to go to the moon. We can't provide water. We can't make robots work. And yet we want to fight the superpower. Let me tell you, if Trump decides to come and take Cyril, he will only send 2 helicopters. I'm telling you. 2 helicopters. Our soldiers will be there. His people in black cars. Those guys in his guard, they'll be the first one to run away. I'm telling you. So we must just shoot and sit down.
John, you must take up arms and defend your country.
No, I'm running away. I'm going to the Bundeswehr. Want that?
John in 4 ways. Hey, guys, you need to be patriotic. Come on, be patriotic. If he dare do that, are you gonna just in jail? Look, come on, look at what Ukraine did. Ukraine said to the men in Ukraine, "Come, get up. You need to come and defend your country." I've been actually asking my friends there that, guys, if Trump dared try to do that here, would you fight for your country? And a lot of them were like, I'm not sure. Where is the patriotism? Huh?
Morning, Dade Clement. No, man, I just want to ask, America, are we our own government, or America is governing us? Why can't we make decisions that will benefit the people of our country? Because America is making policies and decisions that benefits America. So why can't we South Africans make decisions on our own? Why? What's happening? Because even Tate Mandela, when he was still alive, he asked, who made America the police of the world? I'm asking that also. Because last year, they did not even come to that G20, whatever that was happening in our country. So what's with America? Are they the kings of the world? What's happening? Hi, call.
Morning, Clement. This is Michael from Centurion. Clement, with Iran, it's a very dicey operation, because the Iranians, they don't want their government anymore. I mean, just look at the protests. Just look at what's happening now in Iran. They don't want their government anymore. Then we, become friends with their government. It's a bit of a dicey situation. It's a problem. It's a serious problem, my brother. Yeah, thanks. It's Michael from Centurion. Happy New Year, my brother.
Morning, listeners, and morning, Clement. What I think is that we should have continued with our drills with Iran, China, and Russia. No country can dictate to us who we do drills with, because America does drills with anyone they wish to. They had drills with China before. I don't know how long back it was. But my main point here is we found a lot of vulnerabilities within our Navy due to these drills. And this is for our own national security and to upgrade our forces. So for us to be involved in, for us to be involved in America's scramble for power, that's none of our business. You know, if America's fighting with Iran, that's their problem. We're not fighting with Iran. The Iranians never did anything to us. So I think we should have continued with the military drills, the Navy drills with Iran, and hopefully it's not the truth that they told Iran to withdraw, because these are the people we are going to need when the time comes, because the time is coming. Thank you very much.
Yeah, when the time comes, because the time is coming. Huh? And that's scary, because that may very well be a reality, because there's a man in charge there in America who could do anything. Even his own vice president doesn't know what he could do tomorrow. Even his own chief of staff doesn't know what he could announce in the next minute. Do you know how crazy that is? You think it's just going to stop in the Western Hemisphere with Cuba, with Greenland, with Venezuela? I mean, if it gets to the other countries, you think it would end there? What stops him from saying, "Ooh, how about the African continent? How about that southern tip looks really interesting?" And we are being told we shouldn't have allies, even when the world increasingly looks like it's heading towards World War III. You think you're going to survive without allies? Wasn't it Mandela who said, what did Mandela say again? He said, "Your enemy is not my enemy." But that's what America expects from us. Their enemies must be our enemy. Can we say that to them? And sure, we're not the same. They're more powerful, they're a superpower, and this is Animal Farm. But is that fair? Be careful of the monster that you create by consistently becoming a small little country that just takes instructions from another country and doesn't respect and stand firm on its sovereignty. You are creating a monster that you don't know will decide tomorrow about your little country. Be very careful.
Morning, Clement. Yes, AGOA is definitely a consideration, especially from the economic point of view, but surely nothing to do with the American US government and pressure put on South African government, but surely we can be sympathetic to the poor people of Iran who are being killed by their own government for protesting against their terrible economic situation. We should stand in solidarity with them. That's all I have to say. Eleanor Mary, bye for now.
Thank you so much for that. Godfrey, you are in Sandton. What are your thoughts?
Clement, it's very sad, my brother. You know, it's like a man having a woman. You abuse this woman, and the next thing you tell her who to not to talk to and who to not to do what with. America, in my view, must go to the nearest hell.
Okay, meaning what? And then we cut our relations?
South Africa should proceed with what they want to do with practice. It can't be correct that South Africa now tells Iran to say you can't participate in our drill. Why? Because of America has a different view about Iran. I mean, it's very clear that Trump will never like South Africa. Trump has an issue with different countries that he disrespects. So Trump needs somebody who can tell Trump, keep peace of your American, will keep peace of our African. And the resources that are coming out of this country, America, it is what it is because of that. So they must be told to go to hell.
Yeah, it's not as easy as that, Godfrey. It really isn't. The U.S. is South Africa's top African trade partner. They rely on our minerals, and we benefit significantly from duty-free access to the U.S. market through AGOA. So when you say just go to hell, do you understand you're saying that to the people in the Eastern Cape who are working for the automobile companies? They are not going to have jobs. Gone in a week. So we have to think about consequences that we have that are going to fall on us. We live in a globalized world. Even though America treats us the way they do, I'm happy that our government is consistently trying to sit down on the table and talk to them. But you can't just tell them go to hell, because the consequences are going to be felt by you, my friend.
Clement, my brother, as an employee of Prime Media, there are things that you cannot tolerate because you are an employee who gets a salary out of Prime Media. It is what it is. And if we are going to live in a world where we normalize wrong things because of you are giving something that I should allow you to trample on me because of when you've got upper hand, in my view, tit for tat. That's it.
I think, yeah, okay, Godfrey says tit for tat. I think that's in a globalized world, I think that's a bit naive. I don't think that would work for us. America is a powerful country, and like any other powerful country, it wants to exercise and assert its authority. Isn't China trying to do that with Taiwan? Isn't Russia trying to do that with Ukraine? These are powerful countries. And when you're a powerful country, you want to assert your authority, but also you want to assert and stay firm on your territory. That's it. That's why Putin doesn't want NATO to be in his backyard. That's why he wants to ensure that territory in and around me is safe. China wants to protect itself too. America wants to protect itself too. That's why it wants to be in control and have influence over the Western Hemisphere. But to just say, go to hell, I don't know how that helps us. Lebohang, you are in Johannesburg. What are your thoughts?
So I think for me, clearly the world order is changing.
It has changed,
right now,
Lebohang. We're no longer talking about changing. It's changed.
Well, the point is what you are seeing is that, the way that we thought we are going to engage with the world, because in a lot of ways, sense has left the building and there is jostling for power. I think for me, we need to be asking ourselves, what do you gain by any action that you take? And I think for me, what I am missing in our response is, where does Africa stand? Not one country in Africa. Where does Africa stand in geopolitics? All of these Western powers are standing because of the minerals, including with renewable energy, the minerals that are going to be largely found in Africa. Africa has been found wanting in sending raw materials and buying them back as finished products. So knee-jerk responses right now, when the world order is changing, and individual country actions, when we are not uniting as Africa, for me, is what is said. But if we are to look at South Africa, our sovereignty, for me, is much more important than anything. Because if we start saying we do this because we don't want to make so-and-so angry, I think the day of what makes America angry, I think the weather can change and America can be angry and change its international policy. It hasn't followed any logic or any multilateral engagement. It has thrown the rule book out. And for any views that says, oh, they are a superpower. I listened to one of your callers who are talking about iPhone. Do you know that even the iPhone is not made in America? It's marketed by America. It's not made in America. So it's interesting for me how we throw away power because we've watched many movies, and if we are worried about trade, have we sat down as Africa and said, if we improved trade amongst ourselves with all the natural resources, if we did beneficiation in Africa,
Lebohang, they've been talking about it for decades. Beneficiation. They don't do it.
Because we are sitting with, and I'm sorry to say this, with leaders who are wannabe Americans, who wanna be the North, and so I think for me, I say do not waste a crisis, Africa. Look at what this moment is. Maybe we've spoken about it, because even when we negotiate issues around climate justice, we go with a begging bowl. We go divided. We go with asking, when in fact the minerals that are going to even change this climate issue are going to come from us. They are going to come from Africa. Instead, our African leaders are out there selling deals without involving the public, because we've replaced, colonialists with black colonialists. The rule book has not changed since we've become free. The same economic system that did not benefit us as a majority have not changed. That is why right now we think America ever liked us. We think the North ever played fair. It never has. Open your eyes. The world economy is built on the back of Africa. And if we are not going to be using this moment to say, hey, thank God the rule book has been thrown out of the window. Let's create an Afrocentric rule book. That, for me, is the conversation I would like to have. Not this one of, is America angry? Is it not angry? Is America happy? It could be raining today and they decide they don't like us. Or the sun has come out. Or we are breathing. They don't like us. The rule book is out in international politics right now.
And what are we going to do about it as the African continent? Lebohang, I wouldn't have said it better. I have said many times how disappointed I am of the African Union. I mean, intra-Africa trade agreement. When did we at least establish that? And have we really sufficiently taken advantage of it? We really haven't. So we've had so many crises. We've had so many crises. We've never thought of using that to speak in one voice and to do and take decisions that benefit this African continent. It's a sad state of affairs. It's a minute before 10.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on primemediaplus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the primemediaplus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
Hollywood Bets invites you to take the lead. The sizzling summer competition is giving you a chance to bask in horse racing glory and blaze into red-hot rewards. Bet 50 Rand or more on horse racing online or at your nearest branch, and you could win a share of 1 million Rand in prizes. Enjoy a star-studded lineup of equestrian events this summer and settle up for a season of success. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion, because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a Clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. It's easy to apply. No medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6. Are you convinced that at a higher tax level with less drinking, the overall tax take is still going to be larger from alcohol?
Yes, I mean, hopefully it declines over time. But at the moment, we've got such a huge problem in South Africa that it will be substantial money. So in some countries, for example, in Australia, they use some of the tobacco tax money for health promotion in their health promotion foundation. So they use that. But then the government jumped in and started using their money, whatever they had.
Professor Susan Goldstein from the South African Medical Research Council.
John Perlman. 3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possibility begins here. This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Gauteng police have arrested 5 suspects for the murder, hijacking and kidnapping of 2 women. The pair was allegedly snatched during a hijacking on New Year's Eve and a ransom demand was made to one of the victims' mother. Police found their partially decomposed bodies in a field near Orange Farm 9 days later. Spokesperson Demakatso Nebuli says the suspects were arrested yesterday.
Through intelligence information, the team of investigators managed to trace and arrest 5 suspects and recover an unlicensed firearm. 4 of the suspects were arrested in Everton, while the 5th one was arrested in Germiston.
She says their vehicle was found abandoned.
A preliminary investigation led the team to Brad's, where they discovered the victim's vehicle abandoned at a car wash. The vehicle was fixed with false number plates but had the correct disc number. The firearm will be subjected to ballistic testing to determine whether it has been used in the commission of crime.
While some parents and pupils celebrate the milestone of their first day of school, others are frustrated and desperate to find placement for their children. Parents are this morning queuing outside the Basic Education Department district offices. About 3,000 grade 1 and 8 pupils have not been placed at a school in Gauteng. The province is contending with an overburdened system with more children than places available. Khomoso Modise reports.
What was meant to be a sentimental milestone moment for parents and their children has been doused by administrative failures, which have resulted in some pupils not being placed at schools on the first day of the 2026 academic year. Itumeleng Moreki is one of the parents who woke up early this morning to line up outside the Morningside district offices. He's a parent to both a grade 1 and 8 and has struggled to have them both placed at schools.
It hurts, deeply hurts. It saddens you as a parent to see your child cry, wanting to go to school because they know education. There's nothing else they know. Cannot be playing around the whole day today when people are learning and he's sitting at home doing nothing. It's really sad.
Mureki says this is not how he imagined the first day of school for his grade 1 son would be. He insists the Gauteng Education Department system does not work as he started applying in September, then tried again in December and has still been unsuccessful. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News in Morningside.
Former Acting Police Commissioner Komoso Phahlane will be the first witness to face Parliament's ad hoc committee in the new year when he gives evidence today. Phahlane can expect to be grilled by the ad hoc committee investigating police corruption over decisions taken during his tenure as the country's top cop between 2015 and 2017 before he was suspended. The ad hoc committee resumes its hearings after a lengthy recess following the explosive testimony of businessman and attempted murder accused Vusmuzi Ket Matlala in November last year. Babalo Ndenza reports.
Komoso Phahlane, the former acting national commissioner, served from October 2015 until his suspension in June 2017. While his role in the highest levels of the police ended 9 years ago, he still remains a central figure in high-profile investigations that involve police corruption as well as political interference. His testimony will center around claims that there was an agenda to remove him and interference in investigations involving police watchdog IPED. Phahlane is no stranger to controversy and was dismissed from the police in August 2020 due to a 2014 contract for the purchase of panoramic cameras during his tenure as the police's head of forensics. Last year, Phahlane returned to the Labour Appeal Court in a bid to declare his dismissal from the police unfair. Phahlane's evidence will be followed by the testimony of Crime Intelligence Head Dumisani Khumalo tomorrow. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
And the United Nations says 2025 was the deadliest year for civilians in Ukraine since 2022. The UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine says the conflict-related violence killed at least 2,514 civilians last year. This is compared with 2,088 in 2024 and 1,900 in 2023. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says overnight Russian strikes killed 4 people in Kharkiv and left several 100,000 households without power in and around Kyiv amid freezing temperatures. Gold is trading at $4,578.81 an ounce. The rand is at 16.36 to the dollar, 21.99 to the pound, 19.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.29 a barrel.
In the traffic, if you're coming towards Sandton, there's traffic pressure on the M1 North. This is due to an accident just before Greyston Drive. And in Kaya Sand, traffic is sluggish on Malibongwe Drive heading towards Boundary Road.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Gauteng police have arrested 5 suspects for the murder, hijacking and kidnapping of 2 women.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Dumelang, it's 8 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. And as always, I appreciate your wonderful, wonderful contributions on the 702 open line, as always. Remember, at 10:30, we're going to be in conversation with Nedbank talking about infrastructure. I mean, any country that's serious about seeing economic growth focuses on infrastructure. Infrastructure is the heartbeat of any thriving economy, and it really lays the foundation for robust economic growth and development. So it's pivotal in bridging trade supply chains and facilitating seamless goods and services movement across borders. So we'll be speaking to Nedbank about that. And then at 11 o'clock on our Listener's Choice feature, one of our listeners has asked that we discuss saving plans for 2026. Apparently, as the year begins, there are a lot of people that sort of start some saving plans. So we're going to bring in someone who can help you with practical ways to really save money and take control of your finances. So that's what's coming up at 11 o'clock. 9 minutes now after 10.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
So here we are once again, like we do it every single year. We are facing a situation where, as we see the first day of the 2026 academic calendar, we see some Gauteng pupils still not having placement. And there are some pupils that will have to be temporarily placed in schools because the education department is still battling capacity issues. So we're going to be speaking in a moment to the MEC of Education in Gauteng, Matume Chilwane. But I want to hear from you as a parent, as a guardian. Have you been struggling to find schools, but you followed the process? Because we must also be fair, right? We can't fail to do what is our responsibility as parents. We didn't go on the online system, we didn't do the application, and we want to cry foul when kids have not been placed. So if you're one of the 3,000 or so grade 1 and 8 pupils, parents or guardians who remain without placements in these high pressure areas, I'd like you to give us a call on 011-883-0702 to share your experience with us and just share what challenges you're facing so that I'm able to put that to the MEC of Education, Matume Chilwane, whom I will speak to in a moment. You can send your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. And for some parents who know how to get the system right, maybe you've done this several times and you probably have got some tips to share with other parents who will find themselves in this situation where they have to go for these online applications next year. Maybe just share some tips with how you have done it. How has it become seamless for you? Because there are parents, right, who have found the system to be seamless. Let's start with Khomotso Modise, who's our EWN reporter, because he has been watching and keeping a close eye on this. She is at the Morningside District Office now. Khomotso, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thank you for having me.
So here we are once again, as usual, as the start of the academic year. We are seeing some Gauteng pupils that are still not placed. And the number is now at about 3,000 or so.
Yes, that's right. The number being confirmed to be 3,000 yesterday, and I do believe that there may be an update on those numbers, as I've been seeing parents walk in and out of the Morningside District Centre. But as you correctly state, Clement, it's an annual problem. It's almost become a tradition of some sort that every year there will be grade 1 and 8 parents and pupils who just aren't placed and can't find places around the province. And the issue really is in those high pressure areas. Now, I spoke to the MEC, Matumechulane, who says that they are going to be temporarily placing some of the pupils. This is after the next 10 days when they realize that, they cannot find permanent placement for some of the pupils. But I just want to let you in, Clement, on what's been happening with the parents that are here. Many of the parents here saying they've been here before. One parent saying they've come, this is their 5th time this morning, and they've been sent to from pillar to post. One such parent is Abuti Leshoko, who joins me now in the queue. Leshoko, just clarify for me, when exactly did you apply for a position for your child?
When the registration first opened, that's when I put in my application.
And this was in September?
This was in September, yes.
And what did the system say when you tried to apply?
Filling the application was easy, but I'm still waiting for allocation. I haven't been allocated. My child has not been allocated school as yet. And there's 2 pending applications saying application is pending, is being processed.
Clement, I have had to let him go as he's reached the front of the queue and he's walking in through the gates. But his sentiments have been echoed by many here, that they applied all the way in September, they didn't get any help, they tried again in December, and now they're at the district offices hoping that they will be granted placement in one of the schools.
Sure. So, if for the parents that whose children have not been placed, they have to be at the district office to try and see if the pupils can be temporarily placed.
Yes. So what it seems to me, Clement, is that the system online, many of the parents that are here feel that the system online is not working. So one parent that I spoke to earlier says that the system said to him that he had been awarded a placement and he thought that the child had a school to go to. And then on Monday when he went to kind of acquaint himself with the school and find out what the dynamics are, he was told that the child is not on the list. So then they were referred to the district offices because now there seems to be an administrative glitch of some sort. What I heard the MEC saying yesterday, Clement, is that they're going to be using the next 10 days to see where they can place the pupils without placement. And then once they've established that there are still pupils who need places and haven't been placed, then they will be granted temporary placement in some schools around the province while they work on schools, set up schools, mobile schools, it seems, for them to be finally placed in for the rest of the year.
Sure, yeah. I can only imagine how frustrating this must be for the parents, some of whom are supposed to be back at work, but now they have to go and queue up at this Morningside district office or other offices to try and sort out the placement of their kids. We're still trying to get a hold of the MEC of Education, who agreed to speak to us this morning. He hasn't answered just yet, so we'll keep pushing. But in the meantime, let me hear what some of your experiences has been. Jabulani, let's start with you. You're calling from Tembisa. Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
I've been listening to your show since day one, but I've never had a luck to get in. I'm privileged today to be there.
Well, thanks for calling, brother.
Thank you, man. Okay, here is my take. I think the reason why there is this 3,000 backlog is us as parents. I have applied. I've been applying. I think this year, last year I've applied for 2 kids, just helping other parents, guiding them throughout. I was also applying for my brother's son for grade 8, got the space. Royal got the space for grade 1. A lot of people there have been assisting. So the thing is, when you apply on that first time when they open, and then you wait for a certain date whereby they send the offers to the parents through SMS. So what happens is, as parents, we forget the login details. I don't know whether we fail to retrieve the password or something. But for me, I've never had an issue, even with Royal. The parent used a wrong cell phone number that it doesn't have the SIM card anymore. But immediately when I got the SMSs, I told him to go online and then accept the offer, because on those 3 schools that you put there when you apply, they will send you the first offer that you chosen. That I want my daughter to go to Peter's One, and you select that. When you open, it will tell you that here is an offer from Peter's One. You accept that offer. Once you've accepted, you send the documents that are required, and then you are done. It's useless. For me, I feel like it is us as parents that are failing the department, not the other way around. So the parents that are struggling are the ones that never got the offers, or probably they got the offers but they didn't see the SMSs. If we can go and investigate thoroughly, chances to find that the parents didn't accept the offers when they were sent to them.
Yeah. So the system, is it easy to use, Jabulani? Because I can imagine. I mean, there's some kids who are being raised by their grandparents. So when that SMS goes to them, do they know how to navigate that?
So when you get the SMS tells you to go back and log on. As soon as even on Google, when you type DGE, it opens automatically. It goes to the admission, and then it wants you to sign in or log in. So you sign in. Even when you sign in, it has a link of, if you have forgotten your password, you can retrieve the forgotten password. So it's just a password and your ID number. It doesn't even need a user number or user ID. It just uses your ID number as a parent.
I see. Jabulani?
Yes, it's just here.
Yeah, in Tembisa, thank you so much for your call. Tabiso, you are in Sharpeville. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, Tabiso. Go ahead. Please switch off the radio there in the background.
Let me just do that. My apologies. My apologies.
All right. In the meantime, let's go to some WhatsApp voice notes. 072-702-1702.
Good morning, Clement. Regarding this thing of grade 1s and grade 8 in Gauteng, why can't this be cancelled? It will be first come, first serve. Let's go back to the old ways, because this is very, 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 very stressful. Is there a reason why we should keep this? Thank you. Please ask the MEC. Thank you very much.
Look, of course, the MEC will argue that the system is much easier and probably more convenient. And I mean, I remember in the beginning when this started, I thought, okay, I mean, these are gremlins. This is a start of this is a new system that's being introduced. So of course there are going to be issues. I mean, but this is what year are we on now? What year are we on now since this system was established? It's been a couple of years now. So I mean, at some point it needs to get better. We can't be dealing with the same issues over and over again.
Hi, Clement. Could you please ask the MEC there, why are we still having loads of African schools around Montana? I think there are plus minus 5 to 6 African schools, but English medium schools are like maybe, I know around Montana is only 2 or 3. But when you look around Vulnerable, Montana, Rietfontein, there are loads of African schools, and there are probably few in class. But the English medium schools, there are around 42 in class. Why do we still have that in 2025 when the majority of the population is predominantly black.
Yeah, look, it is. I'll ask the MEC that. I'll ask the MEC that question. Thabiso, you in Sharpeville, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Clement, how's it?
Sharp, how's it?
Sure, boss. Clement, my man, my view is we battling. I'm battling. My view is this system is not working, my brother. This system, it's not working. And it's January. We started when they open this whole online thing, but majority of us we still pending. And when you go to the department, Clement, these people, they don't know what they're doing. I'm telling you, these people, they don't have a clue of what they're doing. We keep on getting the same response. And let me tell you something. These officials from the department are getting paid. There's a lot of corruption happening here to place certain kids of their friends, people that they know.
But how? Because isn't this happening through this online system?
Nah, it's not, my brother. Let me tell you, these people, they know how to manipulate. They will send you to a school and you'll get admitted. They will send you to a school and say, go to a particular school, you go there. I end up doing it manually. I went to the school. It didn't happen online. I applied online. All the schools that I applied for got rejected. I personally went to a school where an official told me go there, and I was connected by someone.
Jeez.
Talked to someone, and I went to that school.
Did you pay any money, Thabiso?
I didn't change money, but I know people that exchange money. I refuse.
Okay. All right. Jeez, Thabiso, in Sharpeville, thank you for sharing that with us. Matume Chilwane is the MEC of Gauteng, of education here in Gauteng, joins us on the line. MEC, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning to your listeners.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been dealing with this since 2015, this online system, MEC. Is it getting better? Because it almost feels like every single year, parents are complaining about the same thing.
Look, the issue is not the system, it's the capital schools to absorb the number of learners. We have a growing system. If we had enough schools, there will not be an system. So the system on its own is not necessarily the problem. It's because of schools and preferred schools by parents in some instances. That's where we have the biggest challenge. And they say they didn't get the schools they would have applied for. And we've been demonstrating that you find that the school, for example, Eden Really High, it's got capacity for 250 grade 8s, and then you have 2,000 applications.
Yeah.
You understand? So these are some of the challenges that we've been experiencing, and this is what parents have been experiencing, and this is why there are also complaints around.
Yeah, so if capacity is the issue, what have you done as government to try and build up capacity?
Remember, it's the spaces. Because of movement, population movement, informed by economic opportunities, you find that parents live, for example, far in the west, in the first area, they're becoming emptier.
Okay. Let me see. The line is not good. Let me put you back to the producers. Let's try and work out on that line. Maybe he can move around a little bit because the line is breaking, and I really want you to hear what the MEC has got to say. So if capacity is the issue, I'm also trying to understand what have we done, what has government done to try and build more capacity? Are we building new schools? I know that there are some new schools that are expected to be completed soon, and that's going to come in handy, at least with trying to absorb this 3,000 odd pupils that have still not been placed. Linda on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, my brother started grade 11 today. We went through the same anxiety when he was to start grade 8. How is it that so many years later, parents still face the same distress? What needs to happen for the department to let go of this system that has proven to not be efficient? And of course, the efficiency of the system is also going to be affected by, as the MEC was trying to explain there, more and more people are coming into the province. The population is increasing. And the government now has to deal with just ensuring that there's enough capacity that meets the population that comes into the province. MEC, I'm told we've got you on a better line now. You were still explaining how you've been building up capacity.
Yes, and that's why I say that it's not necessarily the system itself, it's the capacity, the number of schools or spaces. So this is where we're having challenge. That's why now we're sitting with this 2,500 odd number of learners that have not placed. And those learners are based in one area, for instance, it's Tembisa, Ivory Park, and Midrand. So meaning those areas are growing fast in terms of parents, people are moving in those areas and bringing their children. But not enough schools are coming up in the area. So that is where the challenge is in the main with this admission process.
So what's the plan with this 2,500 odd pupils that haven't been placed? What's going to happen to them?
We're placing them in temporary spaces because we're building new schools for them. So we're creating new schools closer to them so that we can place them. So those new schools will be up within latest end of February. But it does not mean when you place them in temporary schools, they are not going to be taught. They will be taught in those particular schools. But remember, you can't say you are putting learners in a hall and say there is a space. So we have to build them schools. They need classrooms, as an example. So this is what we're doing. We're putting them in schools. In some instances, we're putting them, for example, they might be in grade 8, but we're housing them temporarily in a primary school up until we get the school up and running. So this is an engagement that is taking place between ourselves and parents. And those parents, rather.
And those parents don't have much say as to where you place temporarily their kids. It could be out of the area.
No, it can't be necessarily out of the area. We are engaging those parents. I mean, before we place, of course, we speak to the parents. We have engagement. The district officials have been having a lot of engagement with parents to explain to them the situation and the solution to the problem. But what I can assure you, these new schools are becoming more popular. For example, in Kempton Park, if you recall, 2-3 years back, when we opened that new school, parents were up in arms saying we don't want it. But I can tell you now, today it's also full because the applications are high and parents are actually seeing that it's actually a school. It's just that it's a new school. So we're building new schools. But obviously we're going to start with temporary structures of mobiles, but being earmarked for brick and mortar over a period of time.
Okay, so let me put some issues to you that were raised by some listeners as we were waiting for you. The issue of corruption. Are you aware of corruption that exists within the system where there are some schools and some staff members there who tell parents, come to the school because, we'll find a way to facilitate, you being accepted, your kids being accepted here?
The best way, for such, I've heard that there is those elements of corruption, but what I've appealed to those parents who are experiencing that, to bring me the information. Importantly, the school. You don't even have to tell me the names of officials who are actually, I will find them and consequence management will take place. So, because there shouldn't be any corruption, but the system can trace corruption itself. Because when you bypass it, and then there's an appeal, we are able to trace that this letter was number 400. How did the letter move from number 400 to number 200? Mm-hmm. You understand? Yes, we are able to pick up that movement because the system gives us its raw data the way it is, being informed by the categories that were placed, the home address, etc. So we are able to pick up if there's a shift or a change in between.
Okay. Another listener wanted to know, why are there so many African schools around Montana in Pretoria? Is that something you're aware of? And if so, is it of concern? Because this listener seemed to suggest it is.
All schools, generally, those schools were converted into dual medium. That is why we insisted the Bella is important. When we spoke about the Bella, parents, some didn't understand why we need. These are some of the issues that Bella is addressing. That now we are able to intervene and say, this area, you might be historically a Zulu school alone, but the area now is got a number of Spanish-speaking people there. So therefore, there's a need to introduce gradually Sepedi in the school. Whether we bring it through grade 8 and obviously over a period of time up to grade 12. But those details were able to intervene directly from the level of HOD and MEC to ensure that schools become dual as opposed to just being single medium. So this is what the Bella has given us powers to. And to that list now, these are the things that we'll be addressing through the powers, that legislative powers that have been given through the Act.
Okay. So when are you expecting all the placements to be done?
We have given ourselves the first 10 days. Remember, the system has the first 10 days where after 10 days we are able to correlate the full data of how many learners we have, how many educators we need, what are the challenges, and etc. So within the first 10 days from today, the first 10 academic days, we should be done with at least putting them in spaces of learning. From there, in terms of moving them into their new school, we're engaging those parents. Some schools are going to be up because there's 7 new schools that we're actually busy with. Some will be ready by end of January, but the latest will be end of February. Those 7 new schools.
All right. Matume Chilwani, Gauteng Education MEC, thanks for making time for us. It's 10:32. So about 2,500 odd pupils that still need to be placed, and the MEC says by February or so, they're expecting that they would have really completed these placements. Let's hope that's going to be the case. And yeah, strength to you as guardians, as parents who are supposed to be back at work, but you're running around at these district offices trying to make sure that your children are sorted. Sfiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. In response to heavy rains continuing to hit parts of Limpopo, the provincial government has convened an emergency response meeting. Residents have been forced to remain indoors as swollen rivers, collapsed bridges and flooded roads pose serious dangers. Schools were also advised to remain closed for the safety of teachers and pupils. The Higher Education Department has warned prospective students to be aware of bogus colleges that are offering unrecognized qualifications. Students are being urged to verify that institutions are registered and accredited through official higher education and training channels before making any payments. Meanwhile, in a bid to bridge the financial access gap, Higher Education Minister Putimana Mela has announced that more than 15,000 SETA bursaries have been made available to students who do not qualify for the National Student Financial Aid. And Iran has vowed to fast-track trials for people arrested over a massive wave of protests after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened very strong action if the Islamic Republic goes ahead with hangings. International outrage has built over a crackdown on the demonstrations, which a rights group says has likely killed thousands in one of the biggest challenges yet to Iran's cleric leadership. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university. So why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now. Khomotso, how are the roads looking?
Thank you, Clement. So in Sandton, expect some delays on the M1 North. This is due to an accident that happened just before Grayston Drive. And in Kayasand, traffic remains sluggish on Malibongwe Drive heading towards Boundary Road. Otherwise, traffic is free-flowing and the roads are not looking so bad. But if you do come across any other traffic on your side, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Getting ready for university? Well, let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, from Johannesburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand, and from Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. Travel by the 12th of Feb 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
We're quick to celebrate the success of the matriculants, but we also need to keep in mind those who did not do so well.
Absolutely. We have so many matriculants that may be looking at their social media and saying, why was that not me? So we have to take those ones that are a little bit unhappy right now as well into account.
And what is your advice around that?
We need to lead with empathy. We have to avoid comparisons with siblings or even friends or neighbors. We have to remind our children that they are more than their results.
Roshni Parabosita.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
This year, Red Hill School celebrates the achievement of our class of 2025. Our IEB students achieved a record average of 4.3 distinctions per candidate, the strongest results in our school's history. Our international baccalaureate students placed in the top 10% globally, well above the world average. Results like these don't happen by chance. They reflect dedicated students, committed teachers, and families who partner with the school. At Red Hill, excellence is never accidental. It's built together. Visit redhill.co.za for details.
Okay, truck 7, that has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without My Way's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, it's 23 minutes now before 11 o'clock, and this conversation is brought to you by Nedbank CIB. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. As I said to you earlier on, we're going to have a conversation about infrastructure, and we do need to talk about infrastructure development, infrastructure investment, and partnerships, right, and how critical those are for the growth of our economy. Infrastructure is the heartbeat of any thriving economy. In fact, it lays the foundation for robust economic growth and development. So it's pivotal in bringing trade supply chains, in facilitating seamless goods and services movements across borders. So it is central to Africa's growth, and we have to ensure that infrastructure continues to become the pathway and backbone to a thriving economy, so that it continues to serve as a critical catalyst for economic growth, for job creation and social equity across the continent. So please help me welcome Molebo Mutibe, who is the head of infrastructure finance at Nedbank, corporate and investment banking, joining us on the line. Molebo, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners. Thank you for the time.
We also have Matthias Kadarelli, who is the CEO of PPC Africa. Matthias, thank you so much for also joining this conversation. Hi.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, Molebo, let me start with you and maybe have a conversation about infrastructure and how central it is now to economic growth rather than a policy debate.
Absolutely, Clement. It's definitely, as you said, central to economic growth and not just a debate. I think really for us at Nedbank, we see it as a driver for economic outcomes. So, you and I know that when energy is unreliable, when you don't have logistics chains, investment decisions get delayed, and actually manufacturing output weakens and exports lose competitiveness. So it's not just a theory. In 2025 at Nedbank, we've seen how capital allocation decisions are being shaped by infrastructure performance, and we're encouraged by the legislative reforms which support the crowding in of private sector investment in infrastructure. Following what we've seen in energy and Eskom, we're really excited about the announcements that government has made around transport and Transnet, and we actually really believe that we, as South Africa and potentially the continent, are on the cusp of the largest rail reform program of the century, which is really aimed at revitalizing the transport and logistics sector.
And of course, as South Africa, I mean, we've been talking about infrastructure for years. What makes this time specifically and genuinely different?
Well, I mean, I think that I should have actually mentioned this in the first, in my first response. I think for the benefit of the listeners, it's really quite important to kind of explain how broad infrastructure is. It covers energy, it covers transport, that's road, rail, and ports. It covers digital infrastructure, so your undersea cables, your data centers, and water, which I think you and I are acutely aware of in terms of what we see in the country. What makes it really critical now is that I think we've seen really weak growth hovering at around 1% for quite a while now. And this is despite, a couple of interventions that government has made. We've seen a significant amount of private power generation capacity coming on board. And yet still, growth remains really challenging. So we really believe that the unlock lies in the other the infrastructure subsectors that I've just mentioned. So for us, we've seen behavior change in government in terms of really plans being translated into real targets being set. We've seen from a business perspective how our pipelines are changing. So we've seen a lot of bankable energy projects in the past, but in the last part of last year, as a business, we've seen a lot of transactions come to market around logistics, around rail, around water, which is really, really for us giving us comfort that we past conversations. Really now, action is being taken, and we're seeing that in our business.
Yeah. Matthias, let's talk about PPC now, because you can't really talk about infrastructure development and you ignore PPC, because after 2 years of stabilizing the business, you've now decided now this is the right time to invest in a new cement plant, for instance, in the Western Cape. What convinced PPC that this is the right time to do that?
Yeah, first of all, I would say that the confidence is coming internally. As you have just mentioned, we have been pretty successful in executing our turnaround plan that we call Awaken the Giant for the past 2 years. We have been able to stabilize our operation and to put back PPC into a growth path. Western Cape is a very important market for us. Currently, we are running 2 old cement plants in the region, 40 and 60 years old. So the construction of a new plant in the Western Cape was a natural project for PPC. But also we are starting to see some signals of recovery in the construction sector. South Africa has been through a negative construction cycle for more than 10 years, and we are starting to see things turning around. So as a cement company, of course, as you mentioned, cement is pivotal for any infrastructure development in the country. We need to prepare our quality cement to all the markets that eventually will need it.
Yeah. And this plant replaces, in my understanding, 2 older facilities. What does that modernization mean for PPC's efficiency, competitiveness, and reliability?
Of course. This is going to be a game changer for PPC. It changed completely the way we are going to produce cement. It is going to bring a ton of efficiencies that is going to allow us to produce more cement, high quality cement, and overall is going to reduce heavily our cost. We are expecting to produce with 30% less variable cost and 35% less fixed cost. And on top of that, what is very important for us is going to reduce our CO2 emissions significantly. We are looking at 30% reduction in our thermal consumption, 25% reduction in our electrical consumption. We are going to lower our usage of coal, and bottom line, we are reduce our CO2 emissions. So it's a completely game changer. For you to give you some background, PPC is already running the most modern plant in South Africa. With this new plant in the Western Cape, we are going to run the 2 most modern plants in the country. And this new plant in the Western Cape is going to be the most modern and efficient plant in the continent.
Molebo, when we often talk about Africa's infrastructure gap, and we often frame it in big numbers, but what does it actually mean in practical economic terms?
Sure. Clement, it's quite a daunting number, first of all, in terms of the infrastructure gap. Depending on your source, it's typically measured in the billions of US dollars. Some numbers have been mentioned at or around 150 billion US dollars a year, which is quite significant, right? And as you mentioned in your introduction, infrastructure is a key driver of economic growth, of productivity, of trade, and attracting investment across multiple sectors. And really what happens is that when you have that gap, you actually have a cap on economic potential. And the unfortunate thing also is that according to the World Bank as well, transport and logistics costs in Africa are among the highest in the world, right? And really what that translates to, again, practically is fragmented supply chains, higher logistics costs, compromised market access, and actually our ability to really industrially scale as a continent. It also affects, competitiveness, limiting intra-African trade, again, a cost to our growth potential as a continent. Now, at Nedbank CIB as a business, we see this as a really good opportunity for us to apply our deep sector expertise across the continent. Remember, our infrastructure ambitions are not just South Africa, but it's actually across the continent. And that's why we would partner with a client like PPC, for example, who's also got a sub-Saharan footprint. But we go beyond sub-Sahara. We really follow our clients and our sector expertise. We're always looking for opportunities to structure and finance infrastructure projects because we recognize the positive economic impact that infrastructure has, particularly on regional integration, export growth, and ultimately GDP growth for the continent. So it's not a peripheral or a development issue for us. It's really fundamental. It determines how we can industrialize economies. We can compete globally, not just as a country, but as a continent, and really generate employment at scale.
Yeah. Let's talk about private capital now because, it's available, but it's increasingly selective. It flows normally to well-prepared and bankable projects. Why does Nedbank CIB still see infrastructure as investable?
But as you mentioned, private capital is cautious, right? It's always looking for long-term assets that have predictable demand, but clear economic returns. We have shareholders, Clement, and we've got targets that we've got to achieve. But also for us as Nedbank, we see infrastructure as offering exactly that when projects are well prepared, right? They create favorable conditions for business, making them attractive for investment, and also, not to mention, as you mentioned earlier, job creation and economic growth. And for us, it aligns with our purpose as Nedbank, which is really to use our financial expertise to do good for societies, for the individuals, and the environments that we operate in. And we really are a business that believes in investing in sustainable businesses. So for us, in 2025, our experience has been that capital has actually not withdrawn from infrastructure. It's just more selective, as you mentioned. In our business, advisory, structuring, and infrastructure resilient linked transactions have been resilient in our businesses. And even though, broader investment sentiment has been subdued, we are seeing activity. The constraint, as you mentioned, is not the availability of capital. It is really the availability of quality projects where the risk allocation is well thought through and there's sufficient execution capability. If those fundamentals are in place, there is more than enough capital, not just locally, but globally, which is ready and waiting to invest in infrastructure projects.
Matthias, cement is, of course, energy intensive. You could argue that it's exposed to volatile costs as well. How does the new plant improve PPC's energy resilience and cost control?
Well, that is a very important question. The new integrated cement plant will fundamentally transform PPC energy footprint, and as I already mentioned, our cost structure. The new plant will allow us full flexibility in our product mix, and is going to reduce, as I mentioned, the variable cost and the fixed cost. So a lower energy consumption that is going to come through alternative fuel. The new plant is going to be able to produce using alternative fuel instead of coal, and also the plant will have their own solar facility. So we are looking at approximately a 20% replacement by alternative fuel from fossil fuels, combined also with using less electricity, which actually is going to reduce the coal that, for example, Eskom consume to provide that electricity. So this is going to be, as I mentioned, a state-of-the-art plant in terms of energy consumption, and it's going to impact ultimately our CO2 emissions too.
And what do you think this is the turning point? Because, it's 130 years now in South Africa. Where does this investment sit in PPC's long-term journey?
Well, I think we have a 130 years history. We have always been the leading cement company in the country. This new plant is going to strengthen our competitiveness in the country. So we are looking to another 130 years leadership in the cement industry in the country, in the country and in our region.
Molebo, what role does Nedbank CIB play in enabling infrastructure delivery as an economic outlook for South Africa and the continent?
Clement, we see ourselves as a channel and as a catalyst. Our role is really grounded on partnership with key stakeholders to convert infrastructure investment intent into bankable delivery. So what does that mean practically, right? What it means is that we are always striving to keep abreast of policy developments. So that's why I spoke earlier about the reforms. We watch that very closely. We leverage our deep sector expertise to structure projects so that risk can be appropriately allocated, cash flows that are aligned to asset lives, so that long-term capital can be mobilized. Remember, for us, it is about creating bankable transactions, not just for Nedbank, but for the market, because we really believe in how it is that we can, that's how it is that you're going to crowd in the right level of investment in infrastructure. Our strength for us is around looking at transactions holistically, so that we look at traditional lending, innovative risk management mechanisms. So that's around, for example, your hedging from an interest rate perspective. We use instruments like guarantees, trade finance, export credit, insurance, and PPPs to really design transactions that attract international and local investors while managing risk and ensuring that projects are not just bankable but are sustainable. Remember, that's also really a key part of what our purpose is as a bank. I mentioned earlier on that we saw different projects across the infrastructure subsectors coming to market, and we really believe that as a bank we are positioned at the intersection of a macro need and capital deployment. Because for us, when infrastructure is properly structured and financed, it supports competitiveness, it unlocks industrial investment, and it restores confidence. And for us at Nedbank CIB, that is the economic outlook as we move into 2026.
Yeah, and is that why, as because someone was asking earlier on, in fact, on our WhatsApp line, why as Nedbank this is a strategic focus for you? Are you able to expand on that?
Why is it a strategic focus for us?
Yeah, this issue of infrastructure.
Because we are a bank that is located in a country.
Mm.
We are not located in isolation. So if South Africa does not work, Nedbank does not work. Okay, and also we are a bank that is driven by impact. One of the most, so Clement, when you have load shedding, you feel it immediately because the lights are off. When infrastructure doesn't work, it's a bit of a long-term impact, right? Because you start seeing it over time with loss of jobs because the ports are not functioning well, the mines are not able to export, and so jobs are at risk in the mines. You see it in terms of road traffic, transport, the trains not working. So for us, Nedbank is focused on infrastructure because we are an impact bank. We are a sustainable bank. We cannot be a successful bank if South Africa is not successful, because that is not sustainable.
Absolutely. Matthias, what does this investment say about PPC's confidence in South Africa's industrial future?
I think it speaks big time about our confidence in the country. As I mentioned to you, and Molebo also has highlighted this, South Africa has been in a very negative cycle for more than 10 years. But as a cement global executive, I have seen these cycles in other countries as well. We can mention Russia, we can mention Brazil, we can mention Egypt, big cement market that went through very negative cycles. But all those cycles eventually came to an end. South Africa needs infrastructure. There is a population growth. There is an urbanization growth. The country needs infrastructure. We strongly believe that the government understands that if you want to push unemployment rate down in South Africa, you need the construction sector, and we need infrastructure back. So I think that we are working jointly with the government. I think it's very important the partnership between the private sector and the public sector. I think it's very important the partnership between industrial companies like us with financial institutions like Nedbank to turn this very negative cycle around. We believe that cycle is coming to an end. As the leading cement company in the country, we are preparing ourselves for a different scenario in the years to come, and to be ready to support the country in a much positive construction infrastructure cycle moving forward.
Matthias Kadarele, CEO of PPC South Africa, thank you so much for making time for us. Molebo Mutibe as well, I appreciate your time. She's the head of infrastructure finance at Nedbank CIB, and I think that just goes to show how important these partnerships are as we continue to push for more infrastructure investment and infrastructure development. Like the president used to say, hey, we have to turn this country into a construction site. This conversation was proudly brought to you by Nedbank CIB. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer, or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand, and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Tip your way to glory in the Hollywood Bets Punters Challenge, the free-to-play horse racing game with daily cash giveaways and massive jackpot prizes. Pick all the winners on the race card and you could win 100,000 Rand. Bet 50 Rand or more on your selections using the Bet Slip feature and you could walk away with 1 million Rand. Visit punterschallenge.hollywoodbets.net today and tip your way to the top. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702. Let's walk the talk.
So coming up after the news at 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Listener's Choice feature. Listener's Choice, to remind you, if you've never heard of it, is a feature where you tell us what you want us to discuss on the show. So for 5 days of the week, we're always coming up with content that we think will be of interest to you. But we have created, always since we started the show, created an opportunity for you to co-curate the content of the show with us. So if there's something that you want us to really discuss, you want us to talk about a specific issue that you feel we have not sufficiently spoken about, just send me an email on cm@702.co.za, and then we will line it up and bring in the relevant guests to take us through that topic. Today, we're going to be talking about saving plans for 2026, because one of our listeners has asked that we look at different ways to save as we begin the new year. So we've got an expert who's going to help you with different plans and approaches you can take. It's 11 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. In response to heavy rains continuing to hit parts of Limpopo, the provincial government has convened an emergency response meeting. Residents have been forced to remain indoors as swollen rivers, collapsed bridges and flooded roads pose serious dangers. Schools were also advised to remain closed for the safety of teachers and pupils. Mongezi Koko has more.
Torrential downpours continue to wreak havoc across the province, even as workers and learners attempt to return to daily routines. The meeting comes days after the South African Weather Service issued an orange level 9 warning for parts of Limpopo. Damage assessments and urgent relief measures topped the agenda as officials moved to respond to the ongoing weather emergency. Limpopo Cocteau spokesperson Amos Pache.
The MEC has requested all the mayors working working with disaster officials from the districts to do costed preliminary reports.
Another meeting is expected to take place later today. Monki Ziko Ko, Eyewitness News, Giani.
The Higher Education Department has warned prospective students to be aware of bogus colleges that are offering unrecognized qualifications. Students are being urged to verify that institutions are registered and accredited through official higher education and training channels before making any payments. Meanwhile, in a bid to bridge the financial access gap, Higher Education Minister Putima Namela has announced that more than 15,000 SETA bursaries have been made available for students who do not qualify for the National Student Financial Aid. The Minister's spokesperson, Matsepo Sidat.
These bursaries support students at universities and TVET colleges and cover tuition, learning materials and other study-related costs, forming part of government's broader strategy to widen access to post-school opportunities.
Farmers have raised concerns again about the foot and mouth disease outbreak. They say quarantines and market closures are causing a strain on operations, while vaccine delays and poor communication from government has deepened uncertainty. Gauteng's Agriculture Portfolio Committee has warned that the outbreak, particularly in Talton, is a serious economic and food security crisis. Committee Chairperson Jaco Mulder.
When outbreaks are not swiftly contained, feedlots, abattoirs, transporters, processors, retailers and exporters are all negatively affected. One must be also reminded that beyond the agricultural sector, the crisis poses a direct threat to national food security. Equally concerning is the apparent lack of clear communication, coordination and transparency from the responsible Gauteng Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and the farmers industry.
And Iran has vowed to fast-track trials for people arrested over a massive wave of protests after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened very strong action if the Islamic Republic goes ahead with hangings. International outrage has spilled over a crackdown on the demonstrations, which a rights group says has likely killed thousands in one of the biggest challenges yet to Iran's clerical leadership. Iranian authorities have insisted they have regained control of the country after successive nights of mass protests, repeatedly accusing the demonstrators of carrying out acts of terror of the kind committed by Islamic State. Meanwhile, Trump has openly contemplated ordering military actions in Iran over the last several days.
To all Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused.
Gold is trading at $4,578.81 an ounce. The rand is at 16.36 to the dollar, 21.99 to the pound, 19.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $65.29 a barrel.
In the traffic, look out for faulty traffic lights in Sunning Hill at Rivonia and Witkoppen, as well as in Marlborough at Marlborough Drive and the M1 North.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. In response to heavy rains continuing to hit parts of Limpopo, the provincial government has convened an emergency response meeting.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thanks for staying with us here on 702. Time now for our Listener's Choice feature.
Burning questions.
Insightful answers
Listener's choice.
with Clement Manyathela.
So on our Listener's Choice feature today, we're discussing saving plans for 2026. As I indicated to you earlier, we have a listener who's asked that we look at different ways to save as we begin the new year. So there are a number of people who at the beginning of the year already want to think about ways they can start saving. So we're going to dive into some of the practical ways to save money, some of the practical ways to take control of your finances, whether it's clever budgeting hacks or smart saving strategies. Our guest is going to just share some tips on how we can kickstart on that savings journey so that you learn how you can make your money work for you. And if you have got some tips that you have implemented, even if it's many years ago or something you started a while back that has helped you in your savings journey, please share that with us, and maybe that can help somebody else who wants to take savings seriously this year. You can call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note. The number to dial is 011-883-0702. And if you want to send a WhatsApp voice note or a text, do so on 072-702-1702. Brenda van Zyl is the founder at Verity Financial Services, who is joining us now on the line, is also a financial advisor there. Thank you so much for your time, Brenda. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, what is? Let's start maybe in the beginning. The first step for someone who says 2026 is here and I really want to take saving seriously. What's the first step listeners need to take into account when they are thinking of starting to save money and taking control of their finances?
I think it's a very good resolution to start the year with. There's never a better time to start saving. I think the best way to start is with a tax-free savings account. I mean, that is because you're not paying any tax on the growth or on the gains of the investment, you're getting extra return on your investment there. So it's just a very simple way to start saving, and by getting that extra return because of the tax saving.
Okay, and how is that what you can find with any of your bank?
Yes,
Whatever
you
bank.
can find it with any of your banks, and you can also go directly to Allen Gray or Coronation or some of the other big insurance companies and asset managers. They all offer it, and it's generally quite simple. If you go to the website, they'll help you set it up.
Okay. And how can people, does budgeting becomes an important component in saving? And how do you make budgeting work for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so budgeting is very important, and everybody should have a budget. A budget isn't about a restriction. It's about creating awareness and control of where your money is going. You can't save money if you don't actually know where you're spending money. And it's not difficult to set up a budget. You don't need to do anything complicated. There's some very simple tools. Again, on the banking apps, there's some basic tracking apps that you can use, that you just categorize your spending, and then every month it will track your expenses, and you can see where you're spending your money. And then once you see where you are spending your money, then it's easy to take control of it. You can look at it and then you say, okay, is my money going where I want it to go, or is it not going? And then you can see where you want to cut back and where you want to prioritize and where you want to change your spending so that you can have money available to save.
Okay. And for people who sort of are struggling with discipline, what advice do you have for them? Because, of course, there are options where you can save money and have it locked up, and it's very difficult to access it, especially for people who, struggle with discipline, who often will, dip into their savings even when they don't need to, even if it's not for an emergency. but they just want some advice on how they can be more disciplined and not go into that savings pot. What advice do you have for them? What approach can they take?
Look, that's also part of budgeting, that you've got to allocate money for different purposes. And if you've got your money for your monthly expenses, you put that, say, in one account, and then you've got your debit order going off for your savings going into an investment. It's generally a little bit harder to get the money out of an investment. You've got to give notice. It takes a couple of days. And hopefully, if you need money urgently, the hassle of just, getting the money and waiting for it is just too much, and you won't spend that money. So, you can put in certain parameters, like this, for example, if you put something into a 30-day notice with a bank, you have to wait 30 days once you give notice to access that money. So, if you feel like splurging on something, you have to wait 30 days. So by that time, the urge is gone.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, if you really want to force and take it out before the 30 days, the waiting period, then you've got to pay like more, right? A release fee of sorts.
Yeah, no, okay. I mean, if it's a 30-day notice, you won't be able to get the money out beforehand. And I think, generally we all have overdraft facilities with the banks, but, I know from my own personal experience, I don't like seeing that negative amount, so I just don't go there.
It's good to be, to hate seeing that negative on your bank statement. So what's the benefit of putting away leftover money at the end of the month? And must you sort of be flexible like that, or just be more intentional about, this is how much I'm going to put away every single month, as opposed to, let me see what I spend on, and then afterwards we'll figure out, what goes into the savings pot?
Yeah, no, that approach unfortunately doesn't work. You have to pay yourself first. Your investment is the first amount that you should pay, and after that you should spend what's left over. You should not save what's left over after spending, because that way there'll never be money left over, because there's always something that you think, no, I can rather spend money on this. So that's why I'm saying a debit order is a great way of enforcing savings, because it's out of your account, and now after the savings has gone off, you can see what's left in your account, and that is what you've got to spend.
Okay. 011-883-0702. What questions do you have around savings? Is it something you are looking into taking seriously this year? Or maybe it's something that's actually worked for you. If you've got a question or you've got an input, you want to share some tips on how to go about saving that's worked for you, please do so to help somebody else who wants to take saving seriously this year. Give us a call on 011-883-0702, or you can send your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Burning questions.
Insightful answers.
Listener's choice.
With Clement Manyathela.
Good morning, listeners. I hope you're all good. Me, on my side, actually, for saving, I use gift cards. You can go get yourself a gift card at Pick n Pay, ShopRite, any other shops. All the money that you're thinking, okay, let me go spend it on something else. Okay, rather just keep it in the gift card. Go load that gift card. You can take as much gift cards as you want. Pick n Pay, PEP, any other gift cards. And then by the end of the year, people are there buying things. You are there swiping those gift cards for them, and then they're giving you the money or sending you the money. That's how you can actually save. So imagine you have 5 gift cards, they are all loaded, and then all you do is just go to shops. When someone's swiping, you can just let them swipe, and then they send you the money. And you're good to go.
Okay, yeah. Brenda, does that work, gift cards?
Yeah, well, I think that's for short-term savings. So I think what he's referring to is saving for end of year shopping. So a lot of people, tend to overspend in December. It's holidays, it's Christmas, and then they struggle with a debt in January. So that is a very good idea for saving for your December spending. Yeah. But that's not a long-term saving strategy.
Okay. And there was a question about long-term saving. So what's your advice for someone who says, I want to save and only have access to this money in, let's say, about 6 years or 5 years' time?
Okay. Like I say, I'd start with tax-free saving, and then after that, I would look at a retirement annuity. But this is really for long-term savings. There's short, medium, and long-term savings. Short-term is generally your emergency fund. Medium-term is for things like holiday or school fees or varsity fees, and long-term is for retirement. So, 5 or 6 years is sort of more medium-term. So then you can look at the discretionary investment in a unit trust.
Okay. Some more WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 and 702.
Morning, Clem and 702. I think, like the speaker said, the first thing you do when you want to save, have a predetermined amount or percentage of your earnings of whatever income you're going to get. Predetermine that I'm going to save this and do it judiciously. If you have to do a debit order, do it. If you have other means where you're putting the money, take that money away. Do not have money lying around saying, in case of an emergency, there's always an emergency, and sometimes buying takeaway becomes an emergency. So never have money lying around. Predetermine what you want to save and save it right from the start.
Ooh, but if I'm not going to have money in case of emergency, what happens if I have an emergency? And Brenda, do you think that it helps with just making sure you've got a debit order? So as opposed to you make a transfer into the savings pot, maybe just make sure that it's automated.
No, it's definitely better to have it automated. That way, there's no discretion. You make a decision and you set up the debit order and it goes off every month. So there's no changing your mind. But I want to give you a good example, because I think, I did a calculation and I think it's quite, it's incredible. So if you start saving at 25, okay, and you save for only 10 years, okay, and say your friend starts saving at 35, they save for 30 years, the same monthly amount, okay, they will still not catch up with you by the time you retire. So you've saved for 10 years, they saved for 30 years, and you end up with 25% more than them in retirement. And that's why you need to start saving from your first paycheck, even if it's just a small amount. This is the power of compound interest. The longer the money is invested, the more you'll have in the end. If you take Warren Buffett, he's accumulated most of his wealth after the age of 65. That's after the date that most people retire. But that is because of compound interest.
Got it. Aliona, you're in Edenvale. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Clement, thank you for taking my call. I mentioned exactly the same thing as your host has just said. When you start saving at the age of 20 and the compound interest, my brother-in-law, late brother-in-law, told me from my very, very first salary, I must start saving. And I earned very little. I'm a pensioner now. I earned very, very little, but I was committed to saving 100 Rand a month before I did anything else. And within my first year, I had saved enough money to buy my own brand new car out the box. And like your host said, your guest said, I don't save now anymore because the money that I have saved and the compound interest has benefited me now. So now I'm a pensioner, and I am able to afford things which I can. So all these young people that are listening, don't buy the expensive cars. Don't go buy those Gucci handbags, clothing. Please, guys, you need to save because you don't want to be indigent when you're a pensioner. Save the earlier you save, the compound interest kicks in, and it's a big, big benefit. It's a big, big benefit. And yeah, just be careful with your expenses and how you plan your future.
Yeah.
But there you go, Clement. There you go. And for you too. We're all moving onto our old years, and we need to start saving. It's very, very important. It's very, very important.
Absolutely. Ilona in Edenville, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
Good morning and compliments. How I go about saving is that every single month it accumulates with 500. So January it's 500, February I start with 1,000, March it's 1.5, April it's 2,000, like that, up until December. And then in December you just have no issues for January.
Oh, so then that's more for the December into January period. Okay, here's another voice note.
Hi, Clement. I used to waste so much money on takeaways, even when I have lunch, I'll buy maybe food go rinking or McDonald's or chicken licking or Mautwana go spa. And early last year, I decided that I'm going to set a target for myself that will discipline me to save money. So what I decided to do is that every time I think of buying takeaway, every time I think of McDonald's, if it was going to cost 100 rand, for example, if I crave McFeast Deluxe, I'm going to put 100 rand away to save it. If I'm craving, feed my cravings, I'm going to take 80 rand and put it away in my savings. And I found out at the end of the year, I had saved over 8,800 from the time I started saving every amount when I'm thinking of buying takeaway. And I was so disciplined that even this year, I'm continuing with it.
That's fascinating. Okay, so every time you crave something, save the amount that it would cost you. I love how you know all the meals there. Eh? That's amazing. Brenda, your thoughts? Any feedback on what you've heard so far?
That's interesting. But I think what we're realizing is everybody's different. And, that's what I see in my practice as well. There are no two people that are the same. And we all have different things that we spend our money on. And, saving is not about depriving yourself of everything. It's about just being more intentional about your spending and deciding what's important and what's not important. Because at the end of the day, these small expenses like takeaways or, a cappuccino and those kind of things, that is what eats away at your savings. So, if that's really important to you, then great. But then you've got to make other sacrifices because, in life, everything's a trade-off. You can't have everything and then expect to have savings. You will have to make some sacrifices, but you don't have to sacrifice all your pleasures in life.
How do you, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I think for many people when they start working, the advice often is that just save. And you've got to find a balance at some point, right? You've worked really hard, you went to school, you've studied really hard, it was a difficult time. When you start working, you also want to be able to enjoy life, but also not be reckless. Know that there is still tomorrow and there's still next year, there are years to come, and you need to be able to be comfortable and really start saving as early as possible. So how do we then balance the two, Brenda? We were told save 35% of your income. And some people are like, but I'm spending money on a taxi. I'm spending money on petrol. By the time I've paid, for the bond, for the car or for the taxi, for my bus ticket, then I'm left with literally about 1,000 or 2,000. And I've not even taken myself out to a restaurant. So what do I do? How do you advise people to balance the two?
Yeah, look, the earlier you start saving, the smaller the percentage is of your salary that you have to save. So the rule of thumb is if you start saving when you start working, it's 15% of your gross income. Okay? Sorry, just remind me of the question.
The balancing between saving and not depriving yourself. So you still want to be able to, you're living, you want to enjoy life and enjoy the fruits of your labor. But at the same time, you want to be able to just ensure that you're saving and you're not being reckless with your finances.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, if you put away the money first, you've still got the rest of your salary to spend. And if you think about it, companies used to have pension funds, okay? So you would not have a choice. The money that you would get out at the end of the month is after your pension fund deduction, okay? You can't go to your employer and say, no, I don't want to be on this pension fund. I want the full amount. That's just how it is. And a lot of people are still in that position, and that is actually fantastic because those people have their retirement taken care of. Unfortunately, a lot of companies are no longer providing pension funds, so now it's up to you. But, it's a non-negotiable. Just put yourself in that position and say, this is the amount that I have to save for retirement, and I cannot use it for day-to-day expenses because you need to look after your future self. And it creates a lot of anxiety when you've got that uncertainty that once that income is not coming in anymore, there's no money. That is very scary. So, it's not something that is an afterthought. It's the first thought of when you get that income, put away money for savings first. And then that's where budgeting comes in. Then you sit, okay, I've got so much left. These are my fixed expenses every month. These are my variable expenses. What are the nice to haves and what are the things that I need to pay every month? So you first pay your rent, your water and electricity, your petrol, transport, all of that. And then what's left over is for those discretionary things.
Hi, Clement. My advice to young people is that the 13th check is not for spending, it's for saving. If you save your 13th check every year and not use it, with the compound interest, you'll be far ahead of your colleagues when you retire.
Okay, Brenda?
Yeah,
13th check?
I think Nedbank had a campaign this year about getting people to save that bonus. Yeah, it's a bonus, so you can do with it whatever you want. Why not put it away in terms of savings? Pay off your debt. That's really also another important thing is you can't save on the one hand and then you've got expensive debt on the other hand. Pay off your debt and then save it rather than spend it. Because at the end of the month, a year from now, are you going to remember what you spent that bonus on? Whereas if you invested it, you can see what it's done for you in that year. Got to get your money to work for you.
Hi, Clement and the 702 Lands. Compliments of the new year. I just want to ask your guest about when someone works on a company and the company has a retirement annuity where they deduct money from their salaries. Then the person again, you go to these other private retirement annuity, like she mentioned, your Old Mutual and wherever they are, those financial services. Then you take out a retirement annuity. Is it advantageous or it's better to tell your employer to take a little bit more? Let's say that side you were paying like 100 Rand more. You tell your employer maybe to push it into one fund than when you are on two RAs. Thank you. This is Anonymous on the East Rand.
Thank you, Anonymous. Brenda?
Yeah, I think that's a personal choice. With a retirement annuity, you tend to have more options sometimes than you do with a pension fund. It depends on your employer. Some employers give their employees a lot of options in terms of how that pension money gets invested. Others don't. But yeah, both of those are very good because both of those you can only access the money at retirement except for the savings portion on an RA and on a pension fund now that we've got that 1/3 that you can access before retirement. But I want to warn people about that because this came in, it's a two-part system, it came in recently, but you get taxed at your marginal rate on that withdrawal. So, it's a lot of people don't realize that, but it's not a tax-free draw. it's taxed at your marginal rate. So you pay a lot of tax on that withdrawal, and that is to discourage people. It's really been brought in as an emergency funding option.
Got it. Brenda, thank you so much for making time for us. Brenda Van Zyl is the founder and financial advisor at Verity Financial Services. 11:31, Maki has the latest on Eyewitness News headlines. Maki, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. In response to heavy rains continuing to hit parts of Limpopo, the provincial government has convened an emergency response meeting. Residents have been forced to remain indoors as swollen rivers, collapsed bridges and flooded roads pose serious dangers. Schools were also advised to remain closed for the safety of teachers and pupils. 33 undocumented children who were intercepted at the Beitbridge border have been placed in the care of the Social Development Department. The Border Management Authority says the minors aged between 4 and 15 years were found in a vehicle which was travelling from South Africa to Zimbabwe on Tuesday. BMA spokesperson Mmemme Mokhotsi says 2 foreign nationals were arrested for facilitating the illegal movement of the children. And Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen will soon ask Cabinet to declare the foot-and-mouth outbreak a state of disaster. He says such a declaration will mobilize law enforcement support to curb the movement of animals, the main contributor to the spread. Steenhuisen has today announced a mass vaccination campaign to get the outbreak under control, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, the epicenter of the disease. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
ECWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university, so why hit the road when you can fly? Book now at flysaa.com now. Khomotso, how are we looking?
Thank you, Clement. Traffic is moving smoothly for now with only minor delays expected around areas affected by faulty traffic lights, like in Rand Park Ridge at Beyersnodje and the N1 North, in Sandton at Grayston Drive and the M1, and Paulshof at Main and Witkopen, and in the capital city, in Garsfontein at Solomon Mahlangu and Garsfontein Road, in Centurion at Roy Hayskral Road and 8 Sig. Otherwise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702 or send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Metric class of 2025, ready to spread your wings? South African Airways makes your uni journey easier with all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, from Johannesburg to Gqeberha from 655 Rand, and from Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. Travel by the 12th of Feb 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
Time for the sharing space. Oh, I've missed the sharing space. I've missed hearing stories from you about things that have happened. And just to remind you, the sharing space is an opportunity for us to share our stories. I actually have a few stories to share from my from the festive holidays, so maybe I must make time to share some of those. But this is an opportunity for us to share our stories. So if there's something that happened at the office, you know, it can be serious, it can be light, maybe you need advice from the listeners. All you have to do is send me an email on cm@702.co.za and tell us what happened. Something that happened maybe during your holiday, something that happened with your partner, your husband, your wife, when you were at home with your family, something that happens in your office while you were driving from work, whatever it is. It's the sharing space, so you can share it with us. cm@702.co.za. Today, I've got an email that came through from one of our listeners. I'm going to read this, and then if the listener is asking for advice, please be kind enough to share your advice if you have any, or if there's something you've experienced, I'd like you to get in touch with us and tell us how you've dealt with a similar situation. So here we go. Hi, Clement and the listeners, and Happy New Year. I hope you had a good December break. I did not. This past December, my partner, whom I have been with for almost 2 years, went on holiday with his daughter, his mom, and the daughter's mom. He has been separated from the daughter's mom since we've been together. The daughter is 5 years old. They've traveled as a family once while we have been together. I raised concerns about it at the time, but our relationship was still new, and he said he wanted the child to feel a sense of normalcy with having both parents on holiday. But this time, I'm even more concerned because they traveled abroad to Zanzibar as a family. The destination in itself is quite romantic and scenic, and it makes no sense to me why his daughter's mom would need to be on holiday with him and the child. The fact that his mom also traveled with them suggests to me that this is one big happy family without me. My partner says both him and the child's mom needed to be there as it is the child's first international trip. I am not satisfied with this reason. This led to a huge fight between us, and things have not been normal since they returned from the trip. Am I wrong for how I have reacted? Is this regular behavior between people who share a child? Please, can you ask the 702 Land for advice? Anonymous. Okay, so this is what Anonymous is sharing with us. Do you have advice for her? Do you think she reacted in the right way by being mad about what happened? I really think that this is crazy. I think this is crazy. And I've heard of something similar that's happened, in fact. Like, I've heard of something similar that's happened with somebody I know. Is there a trend where gents can travel with mothers of their children and go on holiday with them when they are already in relationships? Haibo. Like, I do know of someone who is divorced, who even takes the ex-wife, and they've got children together. The difference is they don't have one child. They've got 3 kids together. And this chap who is divorced takes the ex-wife to all of the family holidays. Is that a thing that's like happening out there? Because now this story from Anonymous suggests to me that this seems to be a trend. So Anonymous wants to know, did she respond in the right way? So her partner went to Zanzibar with his mother and his child, who's 5 years old, and the mother of that child. And Anonymous was not invited for that trip. Anonymous, the fact that you guys are still together speaks a lot about your maturity. I can tell you that. But this sounds crazy to me. It's 20 minutes before 12 o'clock. Give me a call. 011-883-0702. What advice do you have for Anonymous? And is this something that you've experienced yourself before? I'm sorry. If you are my partner, you are traveling on an international trip, nochal. You're going to be on a beach with a person you used to be intimate with for 7 days and I'm not coming? You're out of your mind.
You can become a victim of a legal problem, wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is streets ahead. Warrior Paints. Affordable, lasting luxury.
Outsurance Life Insurance knows that your family trusts you to care, protect, and provide for them, even if you're no longer around.
More than anything, I need my child to be educated.
That's why 30-year-old Ntogozo pays only 233 Rand a month for over 1.5 million Rand life cover.
My little one would be secure. I trust Outsurance with my life.
Get Outsurance Life Insurance cover without doing any medicals. SMS Insure to 47159. That's Insure to 47159. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
19 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's go straight to your calls. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Oh, by the way, the justification, I think I missed to say that in case you missed it. The justification from this guy to his girlfriend is that, well, this is the child's first international trip and the child is 5 years old and therefore the child's mom needed to be on the trip. So why is Anonymous not on the trip as well? Here are your WhatsApps.
Anonymous, she just made my day. Ha! Hey, why is it about desperate for the relationship? What kind of advice? This is crazy. And the fact that Otlamo Radio Okopela advice, it says a lot about you, or you're not going anywhere, no matter what kind of advice we can give it to you.
Clemmy. Good morning, man. Flores from the beautiful Western Cape. Clemmy, no, not at all. If I can give Anonymous some sound advice, I'm a 57-year-old man and I have 2 daughters. Yes, it's noble to let a child know his mom and his dad biologically. But if you have a new boyfriend or a girlfriend, you take him or her on holiday with you and not your ex. Have a good job. Bye-bye.
Yeah, but also if the ex is coming along, guys, if really the child doesn't want to go on an international trip without mom, why are you leaving your girlfriend behind? Why are you leaving your current partner behind? Then when you come back from Zanzibar, you guys just move in. In fact, I've heard a story of a guy who still lives with his ex-partner and their child, but they're no longer together. Are you kidding me? And this guy is in a relationship. Okay, so when does your girlfriend come to your house? When your ex is there chilling with your child? Hi, guys. Semi, you're in Centurion. Hi.
Good day, Clement.
Sure.
Now I would say that Anonymous must just walk away because it happened to me. You see, if you are involved in a relationship with someone who's got a child with another man, and that man is heavily involved in this children's lives, you're working yourself into a landmine field, Clement, because these people are connected. They are bound, right, by the child. You are just a placeholder, Clement. When that person is not around, you're a placeholder when the other parent is not around. You are just there. You are a standee.
Sorry, Sammy, did you say you experienced something similar?
Yeah, I had a relationship with someone. She had a child with a previous relationship, right?
Yeah.
And what I found out is that they will do this whole thing and say, no, we are going out, whatever, the child, we're going to the mall with a child, right?
That I get. Maybe they're going to get the child clothes, Semi.
Yeah, but those were just an excuse for them to hook up. So, like I'm saying, I'm just saying that if you're involved with someone who's got a child with another person, you're working yourself into a landmine field.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Okay, Semi in Centurion, thank you for your call. LZ, you are in Johannesburg. Hi.
Hi, Clement.
Sure.
You know what? In life, there are red flags and the truth. In this case, there's no red flag. It's the truth. If there was nothing going on between him and the mother of his child, why did he not take the lady along so they all go together? You understand? I don't think she would have had a problem with that. You know, for her own sanity and the respect that she has for herself, she must walk away. This is not on.
So there's no way to fix this? What if he says sorry, it won't happen again?
No. It's not happening for the first time. I get it, that's what you said.
Yes,
it's not happening for the first. So right now she is volunteering to be abused like this emotionally.
Okay, got it. Elsie in Joburg, thank you so much for your call. I think maybe we sometimes take this idea of co-parenting too far, because I support the idea that kids must grow up knowing that mommy and daddy are okay, even if they are no longer married or no longer in a relationship. I think that's important. And I think sometimes it helps for you guys to go on a lunch together. Like even at a Christmas lunch. I would be fine with that. But as long as if you have a current partner, that partner must be there. Why are you having lunches, Jay, with the ex and the kids and my partner is not there? Now you guys are a big family then. Huh? And now that divorce and moving together again then. Kolani, you are in, is it Davidson or Davidson?
Sure, Clement. Compliments. Look, kids of today know about blended family, Clement. That guy will tell me, no mama, a second one. It's not a calling. We were raised by, some of us were raised by such environment. There's nothing new. It's simple. They understand.
I mean, a 5-year-old will understand, Kolani.
Go with mommy. I'll stay. Because, I mean, Clement, we've been doing these things. I'm in a blended family. I'm raising kids. They know. But this is auntie and we are tanda, whatever the name that might be used. But right, it's not perfect, Clement. Believe you me, it's not perfect. But kids understand, and you tell them, and you continue to, because what do you do now? Get these two ladies in one. Two of them go in there.
Why? They'll get along. They have to be forced together.
I can't waste my money. There's no such.
Okay, Kolani Davidson says, no way. It's not two of them. Not an ex and a current. In the sandy beach in Zanzibar. It's not happening. Here are your WhatsApp voice notes.
Hi, Clement. Lavuya from Rudiport. Responding to Anonymous's message, honestly, it's disrespect on another level from the guy's view. Anonymous needs to leave this guy because this guy has no respect for her or the relationship. It's clearly he has other intentions with the mother and the daughter, and since they're all acting like a happy family, they might as well just be the happy family that they want to be. Because at this point, I feel like Anonymous is just a third wheel, or honestly, I don't even know how to express myself with this. This is just, no, it's not on. It's incredibly wrong against Anonymous. No.
Mr. Manyathela, Happy New Year, my brother. My advice for that lady is that she is a side chick. She must just run. There's nothing left for her to fight for. She must run. She's a side chick. If he took his mother and his ex-wife or his ex-girlfriend and they were all together there, it means that you mean nothing to that man. Just put this into your own way, but you mean nothing. There's no relationship between you and that man. Forget.
Maybe, I didn't think about it that way. Could it be that, Anonymous, I hope not. Could it be that really maybe you are not the main one? Could it be? If I were you, I will demand to meet the ex, and I'll demand to be in the space with the ex and the child. Let's see. Let's have lunch together. Let them know you. You are the person that's here now. You are the partner to this guy now. Yeah, I would demand that just to make sure that I'm good. But I also know that there are some guys out there, especially more so guys, this is a story I've heard from guys, who are too obsessed with the idea of a family unit, in that I want my kids to grow up knowing mommy and daddy are together. So now you're going to fake being together just for the kid, because when you grew up without your dad and you don't want to repeat the same mistake and you want your kids to have a different experience. But unfortunately, your relationship with their mother didn't work out. But now you guys are just pretending you're pretending like there's still a family unit. You can still be family, even when you're no longer together. Kids these days get it. Sit them down and explain, mommy and daddy are no longer together. They're divorced or they're separated, but we still love you. And we are still a family in our own way. Lebohang, you're in Protea Land. Hi.
Hi, Clement.
Hey.
Clement, my issue with this whole thing is from the inception of the trip being planned, and Anonymous didn't know anything about it. I think she should have been part of the planning, and she should have been told from the inception. And the fact that she wasn't told, that's a red flag. That's red flag number one. My other issue is, if she keeps on lowering her standards, what's going to happen at the end of the day? That lady is going to move in and she'll have nothing to say.
Lebohang in Protea Land, thank you. William in Randfontein, what do you think?
Hi, how are you, Clement?
Sure.
Yeah, man. Hey, Lena, I'm kind of like looking for advice. So if, let's say, I'm wrong, I must go and apologize. Here's my situation. It's similar to the similar of a guy, but not exactly.
Yeah.
It was an invitation for my child, Koskolong. She got awards, but the invitation said only 2 people are invited. Now, my girlfriend, we go a fight because of I went together with the mother of the child, which is my ex. Then the problem was why I didn't come along with her, but I could not because of the invitation was only 2 people invited. Then on that case, I just wanted to know that was I wrong or was I right?
William, I mean, the child has a mother. And if the mother wants to come to the award of her child, the mother must be allowed to do that. And you are the father of the child. So similarly you have every right to want to be there for your child. So I don't think your girlfriend was being fair there. Because, I mean, unless we're Nalili, the mother of the child, you've been naughty before where you take things too far. And that's why she's uncomfortable with you being together like that.
The invitation was there in black and white.
Yeah.
Like there was no any hidden agenda, you see. So here's the invitation. Then it's not something related to...
Yeah. Or maybe she wanted to come wait in the car, go skolo. And, and when you're done, you just come step into the car. I mean, you have to compromise, William. If she can't, if the invite is 2, at least if she says it's fine, I'll wait in the car outside.
And let me take the on this. The invitation around Thomas 6. Then I'm the one with the car. The lady, she doesn't have a car. We are going almost the same direction. Another problem was I had to give her a leave because of we went to the event together. Then
but does she stay with the child?
Yes. She stays with the
then
child.
You didn't give her a lift. You went to pick up your child, who came with the mother.
But she was in the car as well. I was supposed to say take a ball.
No. I think it's fine for you to give them a lift. Did you guys go to dinner after the awards?
We just bought the thing after giving him a drop, but that's it.
Oh, you didn't go to dinner. You didn't spend time with the ex.
No.
I think Oshapu, William. I think I think your girlfriend was being unfair. But that's what I'm saying. Unless something happened before, that makes it uncomfortable. But as parents, you have a responsibility to the child, and your girlfriend must know that your child is very important to you, and that child has a mother. Thanks for your call, William. Bashe in Pretoria, hi.
Happy New Year, Clement.
It's
good. How's it? Yeah, quickly, man. Look, honestly speaking, I'm in a similar situation where it's blended and everything. One thing that helps that a lot of guys need to do, they need to be considerate of their partners. Look, I mean, if you're going to go on holiday, you take everyone. Especially if it's that case where you want to now take your kids and you want to do... No, then you take your partner with. I had a similar situation to your previous caller. What I did was, there was 2 tickets available. I gave it to both moms, and I stayed out. And
wait, as in the mother of your child and your girlfriend?
And my wife now. And I gave them both the seats, and I said, guys, have a go. And they went. And they sat together, and it was awesome.
Okay. Yeah, you're lucky.
Easy. And my son, and they took photos, and it's beautiful. It's done. because that's fair. That's transparency.
Yeah, true. But then, of course, in some instances, some, they won't get along. But you're lucky to have them get along like that. Thanks for your call, Bahle. Lebogang in Roodepoort. Hi.
Hello, Clem.
Sure.
Yes. With my situation, we were married, divorced now. We've got kids. And what I said to him was, anything that involves the kids, it must just be, especially at school, it must just be me and him. That's the kids' space and not anybody else's space. Because kids can also be cruel, and they could bully the other kids. Oh, I saw there's a new mom, and. So it was very clear from the onset that whoever who gets another partner, that partner cannot get into the life of the child in that way. So holidays and everything, they can go together with kids. I can go together with my partner as well. And there is no gray area. So it's black and white.
Mara, when it comes to the school, it's us who must be there as parents.
It's us.
Yeah. Those rules are important to lay out from the beginning, Lebogang. Thanks for your call.
Hello, Clement, and the listeners and your team. Clement, regarding the letter, Clement, that's utter disrespect. Disrespect at the highest level. The guy and the mother. Oh, come on, guys. Even the mother. No, Clement. No, Clement. Abamboni shem the lady shem. Abamboni. My lady, it's a new year. Start afresh. If it means must move on. Really. 6 years. Oh,
Supercharge your business productivity with Moloi Innovative Solutions. We bring the most highly customized and cost-effective IT infrastructure to your fingertips. Whether it's desktop and server support, cloud services or hardware, software and printer procurement, our dynamic team makes sure that you have the tech that resonates with you. Moloi Innovative Solutions. Experience at its best. Get to moloiis.co.za for more.
Let's hear from Susan, owner of Leopard Song Manor, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We were with our previous insurer for 13 years. Switching made me aware of things that we weren't covered for. It was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
For boutique hotels, catering companies, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Good morning, Mandy Wiener.
Good morning, Clement.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
What's popping?
So we're going to speak to Khomotso. I know you spoke to her earlier as well about the queues of people that have not got placements at schools. So we'll start there. The Minister of Agriculture has been holding a press conference about foot and mouth, but he's also spoken about turbifos. And he wants a total ban on turbifos.
Isn't that what resulted in kids dying in townships?
Exactly, at spaza shops, yeah. So we'll find out about that. There's flooding in Limpopo, so we'll speak to our reporter on the scene there. The former Commissioner, Khomotso Pakhlani, is at the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee giving evidence, and a calabash is being cancelled. We'll give an update on that.
All right, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Wendy Mina. Thank you for listening to the Wednesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We'll be back with you again tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. And please, if you want to take your ex on a holiday with your mother and the child, talk to your partner about it. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. We begin in Limpopo, where in response to heavy rains that continue to hit parts of the province, the provincial government has convened an emergency response meeting. Residents have been forced to remain indoors as swollen rivers, collapsed bridges and flooded roads pose serious dangers. Schools were also advised to remain closed for the safety of teachers and pupils. Mungezi Koko is in Limpopo.
Torrential downpours continue to wreak havoc across the province, even as workers and learners attempt to return to daily routines. The meeting comes 6 days after the South African Weather Service issued an orange level 9 warning for parts of Limpopo. Damage assessments and urgent relief measures topped the agenda as officials moved to respond to the ongoing weather emergency. Limpopo COGTA spokesperson Amos Pache.
The MEC has requested all the mayors working with disaster officials from the districts to do costed preliminary reports.
Another meeting is expected to take place later today. Monki Zikoko, Eyewitness News, Giani.
33 undocumented children who were intercepted at the Beitbridge border have been placed in the care of the Social Development Department. The Border Management Authority says the minors aged between 4 and 15 years were found in a vehicle which was travelling from South Africa to Zimbabwe on Tuesday. BMA spokesperson Meme Magwenya says 2 foreign nationals were arrested for facilitating the illegal movement of the children.
All 33 minor children were immediately handed over to the Department of Social Development for further processing, in line with the child protection protocols and South Africa's domestic and international obligations to safeguard vulnerable persons.
The Gauteng Education Department has accused some schools of moving the goalpost and contributing to the school placement crisis. Thousands of parents have been making their way to district offices around the province, desperately trying to secure placements for grade 1 and 8 pupils. Around 3,000 pupils have not been able to start school on the first day of the 2026 academic year, with many blaming the province's only placement system. Khomotso Modise has more from a district office in Johannesburg.
Majority of the parents queuing outside the Morningside district office are looking for placements for grade 1 and 8 pupils. However, some parents like Clement de Villiers, who's looking for grade 2 placement for her child, have also been sent to the district offices.
So I've registered her last year, August, at the school. The school said at the time they don't have place, so they put her on the waiting list. So every time I went to the school, I think I went to the school about 4